sorry to Austin.
You're okay.
Howdy, y'all, and welcome to another episode on David's Saturday Night Sit Back. I'm David, and almost 3 years ago, I started this podcast having no idea what it was going to become. After the first 12 episodes came out, I was approached by a 17-year-old in the gym who told me that a year earlier he was so miserable that he tried to take his own life. He's alive, he's thriving, and he's in the military, but in that moment, I knew exactly what this podcast was going to become. I'm on a mission to find hidden gems in Austin, Texas, and give them a platform with one mandate: to tell personal stories that will light the internal fire within the audience as they navigate the dark night of their story. My end game for this podcast is that one day I have thousands of emails from people all over the world telling me how these stories gave them the courage to take their dreams, turn them into goals, and chase those goals until they become reality. That said, if today's episode impacts you, email your story to sitbackWithDavid@gmail.com. Let's get into it. Imagine growing up in a world where things don't quite stay together the way they're supposed to, where family fractures early, where you experience loss before you fully understand yourself, and where life hits you a little sooner than expected. And instead of letting that harden you, you let it open you up. You become the person people go to when things get real, the one who can sit in the uncomfortable and actually listen. Somewhere along the way, you start to realize that maybe the pain isn't just something to get through, maybe it's something to translate into film, photography, and stories that make people feel less lonely. Today's guest is someone who's worked with his hands, mechanic shops, restaurants, marketing, but through all of it, he's been chasing something deeper than just a job. He's a car guy who can talk engines for hours, but he's also someone thinking about bigger questions, like why his generation is craving real experience again, why they're going back to theaters, concerts, connection, and what it actually means to feel something in a world that's gotten pretty numb. At the core of it all, he's on a mission to create work that people don't just watch, but see themselves in. Sitting back with me today is Austin Lelievre. Austin, thank you for who you are. Thank you for being here, and welcome to your episode on David's Saturday Night Sit Back.
Thank you so much. That was amazing.
You are an actor.
Wow.
I saw you out of the corner of my eye.
Was I distracting you?
No, I mean, yes, actually, if I'm being honest.
I'm sorry. It was an old habit of mine. I'll say that.
No,
But
it's
thank you,
okay.
thank you,
I
thank
made you
thank
sit there and listen to me talk for 2 minutes straight.
No, it's
so-
great. It's great. I loved it. I loved it.
Where'd that intro take you?
Oh, where didn't it take me? I experienced a lot of things in that. I've never heard my life stories like in such a quick synopsis like that. But it's very true. The thing I think is really special about what you included in there was taking the pain and then like making art with it. I like to think everybody can do that. You can take your hatred and do one or two things, give it to the next person with twice as much hatred. Or you can take it, ask yourself why you were told that thing, appreciate it, and then turn it around and give it to the world in something beautiful,
Yeah.
That's right. It's pretty great. Also the car guy stuff, very true. I could talk hours and hours and hours.
And he has a sick car. I was walking Thad when you got here tonight, and I saw you turn the corner and come down the hill, and I thought, if that is Austin Lelievre, he can still be on the podcast tonight. If he drives anything else,
He's not allowed.
he's not allowed on. By the way, I have a quick bone to pick with you before we get into this.
Oh, no. All right.
You didn't tell me your mom is like a celebrity.
Celebrity? Yeah.
I mean, so to lift the veil for the audience, I have like a character call with someone that knows my guest very, very well. And Austin's like, yeah, talk to my mom. So I call her, ring, ring. Hello. Hi, this is David, my teeny tiny little podcast. Is this, what's, Danette?
Mm-hmm.
Danette. And she's like, yes, Danette, author, spokesperson, podcaster here. I was like, oh my God. Curveball.
Yeah, I like to let her say, I'd rather her tell how much she'd want to say about herself. But she's definitely a celebrity in my eyes. That's for sure. whether the whole world knows her name or not does not matter. She deserves for everybody to know her name. That's for dang sure.
And for credit, because I'm sure Danette will listen to this, but even if she doesn't, that's not really how the intro started. But I think within 5 or 6 minutes, the pieces started trickling in, and so then I was like, let me just Google her real quick, and I thought, yep, that is her.
That's correct.
This is the human being I'm on the phone with this afternoon.
I figured out of all people to, ask and tell questions about me, A, being her son, but also B, the way that she just says her words and talks about everybody else is just better than I can. That's for sure. And, I kind of also wanted her to slide a little, she does podcasts and stuff under the table and stuff too. I like to network for her without her knowing.
And she's going to be in Austin in June.
She is. She's going to be here for the film festival I'm in. And sounds like you got a guest coming on your podcast.
Maybe. I just remembered I need to ask her.
Yeah.
But I'm focused on you for now.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, take that, Mom. No, I'm just kidding.
So one question I asked her that I also want to ask you might be the hardest one, might be the easiest one. It depends on the person. I've seen this go both ways.
Okay.
If we go past job titles and all the surface level stuff I would find on your LinkedIn profile, which doesn't have that much there, by the way.
No, there's not.
Who is Austin Lelievre?
Artist, filmmaker, creative, genuinely kind of cool guy, I'd like to say, and someone that'll always answer a call, and whether it be an emergency, whether it be just a phone call, whether it be complete BS over the phone and just catching up, whatever it is, I'm there. I'm always there. I'm always there for everything. If you invite me to something, I'm there. It's just I'm not a yes man, but I'm a yes, I'll do that man. If that makes Pause. Unpause.
Who is the last person to call you that was not your mom?
My best friend.
Who's that?
His name's Trent. I've known him since I was in preschool, so I'm 24 years old. I've had my best friend for 22 years. Very proud of that. We like to talk pretty consistently, and he's a big car guy, big car nut. We relate to a lot of things, and just always keeping in touch with my old best friend.
What do you think he would say to answer that question? Do you know?
Goofy, weirdo, car nut. No, he'd probably say something pretty similar. He always tells me, I'm a pretty high pedestal guy that you can't find anybody else like me. And he's said that to other people. And he'd probably say something similar. It's like, I've never met a guy like Austin in my life. And, he takes care of his business and he'll smile through every step of the way. That's for sure.
All right. Well, I want to find out more about you because I'm curious how you become such a stand-up gentleman. I'm sort of a degenerate in the town. People see me. We turn the corner at the same time. They turn around, run the other way.
Oh, nice. All right.
Sucks. You want to go back in time with me?
Sure, please. Yeah. Oh my God, you got this photo. I love this photo. Before it was even legal for me to drive.
It was in your destiny.
Yes. Yeah. Are you kidding me? In this speedster? Look at this thing. I was cruising. The smile on my face. Yeah. No, this is me now. Just a little older.
A little more facial hair.
A little bit more
bigger
facial
calves.
hair. I do have calves. This guy did not have calves on him yet. Although he's wearing some nice hiking boots. No, this is great. I love that. Yeah, this photo. Can I keep this? Can I stuff this in my pocket?
Well, don't do that because then it's going to get wrinkled and stuff. But yeah,
Okay,
you can keep it.
perfect.
I don't frankly need
You don't wanna-
baby
you don't wanna
pictures
keep
of
it?
Austin in my home.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you just kept
No
photos
offense.
of your
No.
cast. This is great. Anyways, give that back to me now.
What you can just put it there if you want, or you can hold it if you like to have something for your hands to play with. But there's also 4
Spidget
Fidget-
spinners?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome.
Yeah. What comes? I know obviously you're very young there,
Yeah.
and so you probably can't remember something from that age. But where does that sort of bring you back to in terms of just early family memories and experiences? Like if we go back as far as we can, what's one of those earliest memories of just family life. Let's go with.
Okay. About this age, this was about a year after my parents' divorce. And very hard time in my life. When you're that young and your parents split, but everybody else's parents, all your friends' parents, they're still together. It's a weird dynamic, right? But I am a firm believer that my parents did a very good job co-parenting. And at this age, it was a lot of blindness to what's actually happening behind the curtain. I didn't really know what was going on. I was just happy, a little kid driving his toy truck. But we had a house that was a rental that had this big old maple tree out front. And every fall, we'd fill up like 20 trash bags worth of leaves with it. But about this age, you'll find photos of me swimming through that all the time. And I'm from Colorado. So, of course, being next to the mountains, my family would always be bringing us up camping. We'd go out and disappear in what we would call the shit box, which was just a tiny piece of shit camper. But it's what we could afford, and it was magical. Something about just being active. I've always been an active lad ever since I was that age, and just running around causing strife for my parents, of course, but also being entertaining at the same time. But I think there's a lot of things that happened to me at this age that, I don't know, progressed me to a point of understanding at a young age. Because there was a lot of me not knowing, because there was more, I don't want to say secrets, but more things were held from me for my protection. And as I got older and older and kind of, opened up the Pandora's box of my childhood, I learned quite quickly that, as happy as this kid is here, his surroundings weren't necessarily as happy. And it hurt to learn at first. But now it's what drives a lot of my happiness and making sure everybody else around me is seen specifically for who they truly are. But God, I have so many memories of this from this kid here.
For those who are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, these pictures are embedded into the YouTube version. So if you want to look at what we're looking at, there's several more at least, to say the least.
Really?
So,
awesome.
let's keep going down memory lane. Is
Opa.
that grandpa, dad?
Yeah. So that's Opa, my grandpa on my mom's side. Genuine superhuman of a guy. If I could be 10% of the man he is, I will die a happy man.
Who is Opa, and why do you say that? That's a pretty kind thing to say about anyone.
Very big. I have never met someone who's so humble, strong, and does everything selflessly. He's pushing high 80s now, and every single day he wakes up 5 a.m., goes takes care of the pigs, the hogs, goes and tends to the corn. He's always working on the farm. But a lot of his strength and what I admire comes from my mom's story, where my mom was in a house explosion with 24 people in the house at my Opa's house. And the explosion, it was very violent. And my Opa and my uncle were next to the furnace where it exploded. And my Opa has third-degree burns on over 80% of his body. And nobody died in that fire.
Wow.
No, not a single person. My mom was put into a coma. She was actually the first to be told that she was going to die. But through the support structure of the family and their faith in their religion and just the community that they had, and I think a lot of it has to do with this big, strong man next to this little guy that I am. He did everything for everybody else. He was worried about everybody else. He went back into the fire to save people, even though he was in excruciating pain. And just to this day, he will never ask you for anything. He will provide everything he can for you and do it with just the biggest smile on his face. So that's why I think he's the best man to ever exist ever.
I am the furthest thing from a medical professional, but I've heard sometimes, like when you get attacked by a bear, let's say, and if it bites you, the pain doesn't kick in right away because your body won't let it because it wants you to be more focused on getting away or getting the bear, the fox, whatever it is. I wonder if the adrenaline rush was just so crazy that he didn't even feel any pain until he knew that everyone was out, and then he finally had this moment of realization of like, oh shit, I'm a little burnt too.
Because we're talking about rural Iowa farm, like nearest big hospital is an hour, 45 minutes, an hour away. So after the explosion happened, they loaded up everybody into minivans, state like SUVs, moms and parents who were picking up their kids from the 4-H meeting, like that were nearby. They just shoved all these people with severe burn injuries, including my mother, my opa, and my uncle. And my mom talks about it in her book, but basically like the pain didn't exist until like 45 minutes to an hour later. My mom talks about she's laying on the ground of this minivan and she's watching her skin like peel because of the fire that's in your arm and in your skin, and it's just falling. And I cannot imagine living and seeing my skin burn off of me, let alone 80% of my body. And, growing up, of course, I never knew any of my family who have the burn injuries without the burn injuries. And my Opa is just such a beautiful man. And I see photos of him before the fire happened, and I see some resemblance of me in there. And it makes me, real proud.
Yeah.
Also, he's, mid-high 80s, and his hair is just now graying. And he has a full head of hair. Nothing's fallen off.
Why are we bringing this up? This full head of hair man at almost 80 to the why are we talking about this?
I pray that I have his hair. There's a lot of qualities from my Opa I wish I get. And keeping this hair on my head, this is how I sell my face to a lot of people when it comes to acting. So I pray that it stays around for a while.
Hair has just been a hot topic the last 72 hours, and I'm sick of it. All right, let me ask you a couple questions about this fire. Your hair is very handsome, by the way. I hope you don't lose it either.
I pray.
If you do, and this podcast is making money, I will pay researchers money to make sure you don't lose your hair.
That's so nice of you. Thank you.
So was this like Christmas Day or something? Or was it like a big farm and 24 people lived there? Why was this gathering occurring?
Good question. May 11th of, gosh, I can't remember the year. I think it's 82. Mom, forgive me. There was a 4-H meeting. My family was big into 4-H. Do you know what 4-H is?
I don't know what that is.
Okay, so it's basically like Future Farmers of America. And younger group, it's you'd get together, you make a meeting of like how to push agriculture. You'd attend events. It's almost like a scouts kind of thing, but for agriculture. And there was a group of 24 people, including my aunts and uncles who were in the house, and then my Oma, my Opa, and then a whole big table in the kitchen. And my mom sat at the head of the table. There was the furnace wasn't working, so my Opa and my uncle went down to investigate because the furnace guy wasn't going to show up for another couple days, and it's Iowa, it's cold. In May, it's still not, it's not warm yet. So they went to go and investigate, and while they were down there and working on it, my Oma turned on the hot water to get water or tea going, and the spark from the water heater exploded from the basement. Exploded my Opa, my uncle first, and then the fire went up the stairs, and then my mom was sitting right in front of the stairs and basically engulfed her before it went out through the rest of the house. But nobody died. The biggest injuries were my mom, my uncle, my grandfather. But everybody else is alive and well, and the youngest was in the house was 6 months old. There was a 6-month-old running around. And then the oldest was, of course, my Opa, who was in his 40s, 50s at the time. 40s. Yeah.
Was the 6-month-old okay?
Yeah.
I know you said everyone lived, but
I don't think the 6-month-old had any injury because they were crawling away from the the table where the explosion happened. So yeah, I think
Good job, little
baby's
guy,
okay.
little gal, whoever
Yeah,
you were.
running, saving themselves. That's for sure.
That instinct really kicked in. Gut reaction
Gut
said there is
reaction.
something bad happening.
Get away from the table.
I don't know how you feel about this one.
I'm sure I'll like it. No, I love this photo. My mom's. This is still my profile picture of my mom's phone, which I think is adorable. I still do this. I still collect them. Heart rocks. I don't even know why it started or really how. My mom could probably tell you, but for as long as I can remember, anytime I go on a hike, anytime I be in nature, I had to find a heart-shaped rock to bring back to my mom as just like a little memento that I went on a journey. And she has a bowl of all of these heart rocks in her house, and this was the biggest one I've ever found, and it was the most perfect shape. We were out boating. We docked our boat on the beach, and I'm swimming in Horsetooth Lake, which is just murky. You can't see in front of you, like reservoir, gross lake. And somehow I pull up the most beautiful heart rock to ever exist, and my mom was like crying with how much she was enjoying me grabbing this rock. I find it adorable. She absolutely adores when I give her a heart rock. It's something only I do for her. I don't really know anybody else who like collects heart rocks. I don't think that's a thing that I've heard of before. Maybe it is. I'm sure we're not the only people in the world. But yeah, this is super close to my heart, and yeah, I think on my profile picture, my mom's phone is the first thing. Because she's like, no, this is as cute as he could ever be is in this photo right
That's
here.
a pretty cute kid, I'm not going to lie.
It is a cute kid, you know.
With the heart, the hair, the background.
That's when I had frosted tips. I used to bleach.
Naturally?
No, I bleached my
How old are you in that picture?
11, probably.
Already bleaching your hair, huh?
Yeah, well, my mom would always go to the salon, and I'd be sitting there bored. And I think one day I was just like, "Mom, can I get my hair bleached?" And she was like, "What?" And I was like, "I want frosted tips." And then I went and sat in the thing where they like pull your hair through it. Yeah, but yeah, that was a style I had for a little bit. This is a cute kid. Whatever happened to him?
I think you're still in there in some way.
Yeah.
She told me you still collect the hearts for.
I do. I actually have a couple at home to give to her when she gets here in June. Yeah.
All right, let me show you these last two, and then we're going to circle back to sort of your younger days. So here
Okay.
you're a little older.
Yes.
And I'm assuming that's your mom.
Yes, this was in December. This is my mom.
Is
And
that
my brother
Brandon?
my brother Brandon on the left side, and then me on the right side. So this was actually for the acting school that I go to, which is Playhouse ATX. Love the school to death. Love the teachers, the culture. I've made some fantastic friends, and a really cool project that they did is because it's an acting training course, but they push you as an actor to understand more parts of film and production than just being in front of the camera, like learning how to run a camera, how to write a story, how to make a movie. So they challenged us where we would pull a fellow actor's name out of a hat. And after you pull the name out of the hat, you have to write, direct, edit, and shoot a film for that person. And it has to be 5 minutes or less. And this last December, we played our first films for this event. The event is called FAFOFF, F-A-F-O-F-F, for Fuck Around and Find Out Film Festival. Or if the public asks, the Film Around and Find Out Film Festival. But I think it's appropriate to call it the Fuck Around and Find Out Film Festival. Anyways, this is now a reoccurring thing we're doing every 6 months. Funnily enough, the next 3 weeks, I am like booked to the max because I am filming 6 different films for me and my friends. But my mom flew down I invited her out. I said, "Hey, Ma, this is going to be my first film festival where I have a film in it, and I'm also in a film that I acted in it. So you could get the best of both worlds, like what I made versus what I play in." And she just started getting ecstatic over the phone, of course, and super excited. So flew her down, and yeah, this was at the event right after we showcased our movies. So I'm very blessed to have the support structure that I have. That's for sure.
Sorry, cut your face off. It was my first time using a printer.
That's okay.
I'm being sarcastic.
No. You'll get there.
Well, this next one turned out better. I also came after that one, though. I was like, all right, double check the margins.
Double check it. Yep.
Who are those people?
This is me and my siblings.
Figured as much.
Yeah. So we got myself standing on the left, my older brother Brandon standing on the right. My younger brother Alex, who just turned 15, which is crazy, laying across us, and then Avery, the youngest, who's about to turn 12, sitting on top. This is actually a photo recreation. Back when Avery was like 2, I think, or maybe even younger, we did this photo, and Alex was only, 3 feet tall, and we were much smaller. But this is the most recent rendition of it. This is in the backyard of my childhood home in Colorado, which they just started building houses across. For the first 19 years of my life, there was not a single house. It was a cornfield, and then right behind the cornfield was just the mountains. So it was just a beautiful landscape, and now they're building a damn neighborhood because cash is king, I guess.
Unfortunately. Can I see that real quick?
Yeah, sure.
So Brandon's your blood brother, and then Avery and Alex are step or half
siblings, yeah.
And that's Brandon?
Yep.
That one?
Yep, that's Brandon on the right. He's the oldest. He just turned 27. There's a 3-year difference between me and him. My parents had him right before they moved to Colorado, or right before they got married and moved to Colorado. They moved to Colorado in 2000, built the house that you see that was taken at in 2001, moved into it right after I was born in 2002, and then in 2003, I think we moved in. And then in 2005, my parents filed for divorce on Halloween, and so separated. So Brandon's my only full blood brother, and then my mom remarried to the best stepdad anybody could ask for. Genuinely, I love that man so much. He's taught me so much on how to be a man, and is very respectful of because we still had our dad around, of respecting the stepdad to dad boundary and making sure not to cross a line, but also, discipline when needed. And he taught me work-life balance. He taught me how to have fun. He'd take us four-wheeling every weekend, it felt like. And he was strapped for cash, but anything to make us happy, he would do. And so after they remarried in 2011, my younger brother Alex was born, and then in July 4th of 2014, Avery was born. So she's a 4th of July baby, big old firecracker. Which is funny because my birthday is March 14th, my older brother's is March 20th, my mom's is March 19th, and my younger brother's is March 23rd. And then my stepdad's is February 22nd, and my dad's is February 23rd. So, we have a 3-week period or 4-week period where it's just birthday.
Do you guys just throw a massive Lelievre party every year?
Yes, yeah, basically.
Yeah, you should. That's the only way to do it, I feel like.
Before the youngings the kiddos were born, me and my brother did not like the idea. Yeah, it's the boys and the kiddos. It's me and my brother are the boys, and then we got the kiddos. Just I don't know why we need to differentiate the two of us. It isn't obvious, but but me and my brother would not want to share a birthday. So growing up, it was I had a birthday and Brandon had a birthday, and then after Alex was born, we were like, all right, we gotta group these up because it's too much. So then we started having group birthdays at that point. But
do people say that you and Brandon don't look alike?
All the time.
I was gonna say when I took a better look at that picture, it's like
I know it's so strange. But yeah, he got a lot of my mom's DNA, and I got a lot of my dad's, specifically in structure and genuine height and facial features. My mom's side has the more lengthy, I don't know, glowy look, and I have always had the more stocky, hobbit-like build. So
not that short though.
No, luckily my grandma's 4'11", and my biological grandfather on my dad's side was 5'1", so I struck gold by landing at 5'10". But yeah, oftentimes we'll be out in public, and two things: if they think we're brothers, they think I'm the older one. Because he can't grow facial hair at all. Ever since I've had facial hair, he's just damn it, you just look older than me. And then yeah, people just either think we're not related at all, or that I'm the older one.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, great family, by the way. Great looking family.
Thank you.
Did your parents raise you guys religious at all?
Yeah, my mom, the way I was raised was very. I don't want to say like very conservative, because there's a lot of progressive views and values that we cherish and want to push forward. And really, at the end of the day, as long as you care for the person you're talking to, that's all that matters. Besides the point, yes, I was raised Lutheran. Went to church for all I could remember. My mom, of course, with the fire, there was a lot of faith-driven stuff. Like, the only thing that survived the fire was a photo album and all the Bibles in the house. And like, there was many cases inside the hospital where my Opa would sing church hymns down the hallway, and it would make my mom feel better. It was like the only thing, because for burn care back then, it was so raw. Like, she would get daily bath scrubbings where on all the burns you had to like scrub out all of the scabs and stuff that were building to prevent infection. So you'd get a blood bath every day with like metal wire, and the only thing that would get her through was hearing her dad sing church hymns. So my mom is very religious, very close to God, has her own relationship with it. And me and my brother both grew up very close to it. We didn't really have any problems that came up with it. My dad is also a Christian as well, a little more laxed in the pushing it on to us, I guess. But yeah, we went to church every Christmas, every Easter, every Lent, during Lent, everything. We're more of like a once a month churchgoer family, but it didn't change the fact that the values in the household were pretty kept up to religious standards. And when I became 13 and started doing like mission trips and working with the church and the youth group, I don't know, I started to notice some issues with the church specifically that I didn't agree with. Things of just like, I had questions specifically about divorce and struggling to find like equal love, and I would ask my youth pastor, and then they would only direct me to the Bible, and then I felt like I couldn't find an answer there. And that kind of just snowballed eventually to me feeling like I couldn't find truth at home or at church, and I gained a resentment towards the church, and I really struggled with it. I did not want to go to church. I did not want to seen by anybody in church. I couldn't make a friend in church. I felt very against God. I felt cursed. I was very in this spot where everything was working around me, yet I felt very alone, and ended up gaining a pretty deep depression because of it, because I just felt so let go. And through that, I tried to find God to help me with my depression. And as that continued, I just found more and more isolation. I didn't find any help that I was really looking for. And when I turned 17, I backed away from the church completely, went agnostic, was just like, this isn't working for me. This is not what I want. This isn't giving me the answers I want. I feel trapped in a box when I just want to be a good person. Like, I want to be a good person, but also have some of these experiences, but I don't want to feel completely guilty by having these experiences because they're against the perfect word of God. And that was definitely hard for my family to, like, they'd go to church and I'd stay home, be like, I'm not going. And, like, that was a big change. My dad struggled with it more than my mom. My mom was giving me grace and was just like, he'll figure it out, and it is what it is. And from ages 17 to 21, I was completely agnostic. Basically just called out to the universe if I had any problems, and lived by the golden rule, which is just treat others how you want to be treated. Which at the end of the day, it's kind of what most religions tell you. It's just, how do you want to be treated? Treat someone else like that. So I found a lot of self-growth where I didn't feel tied to have to live up to the word of God and live to how the church taught me. but still be a good person to my standards and live how I wanted to live. And then recently, once I started acting, actually, I had a reconnect with Jesus, the church, and the Bible. My best friend that I had brought up, he's got into youth groups or into men's groups, and he sends me a Bible verse every day, which I actually really appreciate. I love that he does that. And I'm still figuring out where I stand. I still struggle with the church. I struggle with religion being forcibly told how you should follow it and what you should believe. I think the best way that any religion could be processed is through how you perceive it. Like when it comes to the Bible, there's a lot of truth there, and there's a lot of great things to pull from it. But at the same time, it's been translated how many times across how many years? There's bound to be some mistakes through translation, and I tend to like see it more as the good value rather than a strict value, if that makes sense. Like what one person could read as like tattoos are bad. Clearly I have tattoos. And I don't think they're bad. I think that they're an expression of myself, but really as long as I don't mark myself with like satanic ritual stuff, then I'm still following, what I think is true. And now that I've kind of re-entered into it and, I read the Bible every now and then, get myself on some paths that I just am interested in and doing it my own way, I'm much more happy about my exploration with religion. And my mom loves to see me back into it. She doesn't really ask me any questions. She doesn't push anything onto me. Same with my dad. And so to answer your question, yes, I grew up in a religious household and it definitely played a larger part of me growing up. But now it's a different story. I just rambled on for a little bit there.
All right. Well, unfortunately, all right. So let's back up a little bit.
Perfect.
So you're 13.
13.
You're going to church.
Yep.
You're asking your youth pastor or some pastor there about divorce.
Mm-hmm.
And what were you asking? Like, is divorce wrong? Are my parents going to hell because they split up? What was the question?
It was honestly less about them. It was me. I wasn't happy despite them finding happiness with their relationship. My mom and my dad had met this mutual ground where like they would operate well together, communicate well, and to everybody else's perspective, it was very happy and like honestly really good from a divorce family. But I felt lost. I felt like I couldn't connect to one or the other as close as I could. If they were together, I was jealous of families that did have a complete family, like no divorce, no issues. I found myself very envious of them, and I went to the pastor to ask, how do I fight that? Because I don't want to live that way. And then they sent me to some chapters in the Bible, and I read through it, and I was like, this didn't help me at all. If anything, I feel more lost because I feel like I should just hold the grace, but I can't find where that grace should be. So I went to report to them to find out why I was mad, and then was just led to more questions.
You remember where they pointed you to in the Bible? I know that's very specific, but
Yeah.
I'm curious where we were sending this 13-year-old child to figure out life without them.
I think there was some, I can't remember. I do remember a part of this conversation was I reread Abraham, like the whole story of Abraham and him going to kill his son before and making the hike. That I read about, but I couldn't pull out why they would tell me that.
They sent you to that story?
Yeah, that was one of the stories that they sent me to. The youth pastor did, which is a good story, I guess. Well, I don't think it applied much to my situation.
I'm having judgmental thoughts towards these youth pastors. That's all I'm going to say.
That's fine.
How did you feel lost?
How did I feel lost? That's such a good question. I don't know. Because 13, you're starting to get into like the dating world. I think that was a big thing for me was I didn't have a consistent good example of how a relationship should be. I saw it through my mom and my stepdad more than anywhere else, but even then my stepdad didn't want to be like a dad, so he kept their relationship a little bit more privatized from us, which I don't blame him for. But like my dad, after the divorce, kind of just dated and like be a new girl every once in a while, and I didn't really see much of her. And then I felt like I didn't know how to enter that, and my dad struggled to talk to me about it. So I felt lost in the sense of I didn't know how to approach a relationship. I felt lost because I felt like everything around me was super happy. Why am I feeling sad and dark thoughts? What's up with that? Another way I was lost is my relationship to God, to my family, was very different from how like even my brother's relationship was. So why was my brother in a more happy or content spot with the church and with our family than I am? And why can't I talk to anybody? So I just felt kind of abandoned by the people who I like wanted to get answers from, but didn't. I also like was young and naive and didn't probably ask the right questions either. But I think a lot of it came down to like I just wanted to know what those specific kind of things felt like and what they looked like, and I just never got a good example of it. So it was a lot of me finding the answers out for myself, which I've operated most of my life on. If I'll figure it out, whether it be a good thing or a bad thing. So, yeah.
Do you remember if you ever went to Danette? Or I'll call her your mom.
That's okay. Yeah, I went to my mom for a lot of things, and I still do. I talk to her all the time. But back then, I was, especially when I was real angsty, I was like, I can figure this out without my mom. I don't need my mom. I needed my mom. There was a lot of things I didn't tell my mom that I was struggling with because what I thought was for the fact that I loved her and didn't want her to worry for me. And then another part being it felt like an answer I needed from a man, but I wasn't comfortable asking the men in my life, so I wouldn't ask my mom those things either. When I was really depressed, I went to my mom a couple different times, and at the same time, my brother was also fighting some mental health stuff, and his was bigger, and he was getting concussions, and he had a traumatic brain injury from football, and him falling into a depression for multitude of reasons I don't need to get into, and his mental health, it almost felt like he was already dealing with those things, and I couldn't deal with the same problems because if I did, then I'm overlapping on him, and so I kept a lot of these things to myself, and where I thought I could get answers from the church, I didn't, and then I just felt like I basically put myself in the box, like that it's really at the end of the day I had myself to blame, but my mom eventually picked up on it and talked me out of hurting myself any more than I already did, and taught me that I'll figure out my purpose, basically, and that I don't have to figure it all out right now. And that gave me a lot of peace that eventually led to the freedom that I have today.
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to Windsor High School, Windsor, Colorado.
How many people were in your class?
300? No, 400?
Did you have any close friends at the time?
Yeah, I had a very interesting friend group. I was kind of the kid that got along with everybody and didn't like stick around too long with every group. If you ever knew that person who was like, you'd go hang out with the nerds and you go hang out with the jocks and you go hang out with the prep people, the stoners, and you could meet up with all of them and be friendly, but you're not in a super deep connection with. But I had Trent, my best friend. We went to preschool together, and then we didn't go to school together again until high school. So when we got back to high school together, the two of us kind of became troublemakers. Plus, his mom was the nurse at the school, so she would like be able to sneak us around and like away from trouble and give us like hall passes and stuff. And then I had my friend group from late elementary to middle school because I had to transfer schools because I was really bullied in third grade. I ended up transferring schools in fourth grade and met a whole new batch of friends. And in the new batch of friends, some of them went to the same high school as me. And I had a large support structure, but looking back on it, I didn't use the support that was there for me. And I had a lot of friends. I was a very social butterfly. I felt like I knew everybody, but nobody knew me. besides like Trent and one or two other friends.
What'd you get bullied for?
I was on the football team, and the positions I played also happened to be the positions that the coach's sons played. And I was always a bench warmer because the coach's kid played before me, even if I performed better. And then I got really made fun of with my weight. I started becoming a little bit of a heavier set kid around that time, around third grade. And that was a big issue. And then, there was a lot of like hazing, like they privatized the football group to like be this cool place to be, and you had to work for it. And almost they would just consistently make fun of me, and I thought if I just followed along, they would eventually include me. And it just never, kids are assholes. It never turned out that way. And honestly, most of those guys now, I'm sure, are just operating at the. I'm sure I'm doing better than them. No super big dig, but they bullied me for a lot of like. I was just different. I was just a different kid. I wasn't the typical football super competitive kid. I really did football because my brother did. My parents, thought it'd be good for me to be on some sort of collaborative team, so that's why I was there.
I had a question I was going to ask you, but I was listening. Give me a second.
You're good.
What clicked between you and Trent, do you think?
The reason why we initially clicked is because my mom and his mom went to the same gym, so we were put in the same gym daycare. And specifically the thing that brought us together was our obsession for Hot Wheels. We throughout my entire childhood, we would take our shirts, fill up, this makeshift pocket of all of our Hot Wheels, and we'd go run out and we'd play in the yard for hours and hours. We had a sandbox where we'd pretend to be sand dune buggies, and we would just play so well together. It was just there was no working for fun. It was just consistent good fun with him. Yeah.
Did you go to anyone about the bullying? Coaches, parents, or
Not really. I I brought it up to my parents a couple times, specifically at football events, because they would notice some things while I was sitting bench side of certain kids picking on me or saying certain things, and my mom would be like, "Does that bother you?" And I would lie. Be like, "No, it doesn't bother me," because I wanted to be part of the team. I wanted to be something, I didn't want to complain and be an outcast already more than I already was. So I felt almost an obligation to lie and pretend everything was okay rather than stand up, which is, and often they can be a common fallback when it comes to bullying, is you think if you just pursue long enough and it'll go away, but it doesn't.
And how old were you when your parents divorced? Two?
Yeah, I was 3. Yeah, 2.5, 3. Because I was born, 2.5.
I think I asked you this on the phone, but for the sake of the audience and because I forget, did you talk to your dad much, your biological dad? Or?
Today? Yeah, I talked to him.
No, but back then.
Oh, back then? Yeah. It's sad. I mean, most of everybody's first memory is a pretty traumatic one. And my first memory I can think of was standing in between the door, between their last fight, their last scream fight. And after the divorce was filed, we stayed at my dad's house every Thursday night and then every other weekend. So we had a consistent time with our dad. The thing I've struggled with my dad from a young age to even occasionally now is he was a workaholic. Because we lived in northern Colorado, he went to work in Cheyenne, which was a 45-minute drive from where we lived. He worked at this place, Holly Frontier, for 13 years as a electrical engineer and designer for this refinery plant. Anyways, he would work, an 8 to 9 hour day. We would take the bus to school, get home, and then he would cook mac and cheese and chicken nuggets. We'd watch Top Gear on the couch and then go to bed. There wasn't a lot of family communal time. It was a lot of eat the food, go play outside, hang out with our dad for a minute. But he tended to be, after the divorce, as any man probably would be, is very upset, kind of on a quick trigger. So me and my brother just kind of learned to give him his space and eat the food and hang out with him when we needed to, but do our best not to step on his toes. And it was a very interesting dichotomy between my life at my dad's house and my life at my mom's house growing up. They were two very different places. One was super supportive and consistently would be there, but sometimes to the detriment of too much, being there too much. And the other one felt like I was non-existent sometimes. I don't know. So I was close enough to know everything going on, but not close enough to let him know everything going on with me. That's kind of how growing up with my dad was.
Between 13 and 18 years old,
Mm-hmm.
what were a couple of moments, aside from the church one,
Mm-hmm.
that you think add a lot of context for who you are today?
Ooh, yeah. A big thing was in high school. I didn't really do any extracurricular activities. I I fell out of football after my brother had his accidents. I didn't want to be, the next one in the family with a whole bunch of concussions and issues. So I stepped out of sports. I got a job when I was 15 at Jimmy John's and worked there 3 to 4 days a week. I ended up working there till I was 18 and was a night manager for him. But when I found myself at a new job and away from normal, what I would consider normal extracurricular activities, I wanted something, and two things came up. One of them was mock trial. I don't know if you know what mock trial is, but it's competitive fake court, basically. You have people who play lawyers and attorneys and students who want to go to law. One of my friends who's now in law school did this, and he invited me to join. And to this day, I credit it as my first acting award, where I played a witness. And when you're a witness, basically, you just have a character and you're given all this information. And if you're asked one of these questions in court, or a relating question in the trial, then you need to be able to recite it exactly as it happened to you. So it was, in a way, just me practicing a character. And the character, I forget the name, but I was a dog walker. I walked corgis, and I walked the person who the case was about. I walked her dog. And first event or regional event I ever did for mock trial, they were giving out awards, and they said best witness goes to Austin Lelievre. Well, they butchered my last name. It was Austin Lelievre, and I was so out of it. I just sat there while everyone applauded, and my friend kicked me, and he's like, I was like, what? I should be applauding. I start clapping. He goes, no, it's he goes, no, it's for you. You should go and get. I was like, what? And then I hear my name again, and so I get up and I go get my award, and I have it in my childhood room back home at my mom's house. I just have it sitting up. And I remember after I got it, because that was the first award that mock trial ever got for our school, and they've been doing it for 13 years. So they asked me if they could take the trophy and put it in their trophy case. I said, no, fuck you. This is my trophy. I walked in, got my award, and got out. Let me have it. So that, I didn't realize that moment was going to lead me to, it was kind of like the first acting thing I ever did. And it kind of just sat there. I never really thought about it until I started acting after college. But also in the 13 to 18 year time, I started doing photography classes on the side and took a couple photography classes, and immediately was like, wow, this is really cool that I can capture a moment in time and then stylize it as art. And took 4 years of that, and the same teacher, Mr. Vasa, shout out Mr. Vasa, love that guy. He taught me everything about video production as well. He had video production classes, so I picked up on those. Then he had a graphic design class, so I ended up just taking all of his classes and learning everything with camera and art design. And by the end of college, by the end of high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I knew that this video stuff was pretty cool, and I could kind of get a hang of it. And me and Trent ran a automotive YouTube channel, which we're trying to pick back up if we can find the time to. And through experience of that and the classes, I ended up going to college for television and video production. Granted, it was over COVID, so my first year was over Zoom, and then finally got in person with a mask and all that. But those 13 to 18 was very quintessential for who I became. I had a lot of betrayal, a lot of sadness, a lot of self-navigation, and learning that no one's going to tell me how to live my life. I have to figure that out for myself and figure out what I want to do. And I think luckily enough, I found out at an early enough age that now, like, I know everything I'm doing is for a goal that I'm meant to do. And a lot of people my age are like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's going on. I have my degree, now I'm in debt, and I don't even use it, you know? So I'm very grateful for that. But 13 to 18 was pretty crazy. I moved out of my mom's house. I had a really big fight with her.
How old were you?
17. Yeah, 17. I think it was like September of 17 years old. I started talking to this girl who I ended up dating for 3.5 years. And at that time, I was super angsty, super mad at everything just because that's how hormones were. And my mom was like trying to tell me to slow down with the relationship, and I was like, "No, Mom, let me live my life." And we ended up getting in a couple big fights, and I moved out of my mom's house, moved into my dad's full time. And then me and this girl started dating, and then right after we started dating December 26th of 2019. And 3 months into our relationship, COVID happened, and our parents gave us the ultimatum that either we break up and don't see each other till COVID's over, or you guys move in together and until the end of it, because they didn't want us like traveling back and forth, because everyone was running around with like chickens with their heads cut off. My mom was very disapproving of her moving in with me, and she did, and me and my mom had plenty of conversations about it, but after a year of us dating and us not being pregnant, she was like, okay, he must have some sort of responsibility in him. And, ended up turning up a new page and settling a lot of things with her and realizing she's human too. And she doesn't know everything, and I don't know everything. At the end of the day, we got each other. So, yeah.
So you guys moved in together?
Yeah.
How long did you live together for?
Me and my ex, we started dating, December. We moved in March, and then we lived together until the end of our relationship in May of 2023. So we lived together for 3 years, 3.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
After dating for only 2 months.
Yep.
Or 3 months, I guess.
Yeah. Give or take, still too fast. It was crazy. And to 99% of smart parents out there, a bad idea on paper.
Why, in hindsight, was it a bad idea?
I think that relationship taught me a lot. Granted, it took a lot of time. I didn't realize how much of a codependent person I was, and immediately living with because this was my first relationship. I didn't have a girlfriend prior. So she was my first kiss. She was my first everything. And we moved in together 3 months of being together. And I immediately just almost became addicted to her. Like, everything we did together. And, over time, I've learned that, like, for me, a healthy relationship is someone that I can be fully there for when I can be. But if I can't be, I don't have to feel forced to be there. And at that time in that relationship, I felt a lot of the times I was doing stuff I didn't want to do, didn't speak up for myself about it, didn't know how to communicate properly. And there was just a lot of pressure that living together added than if we just were dating like a normal couple would.
What were things you wanted to stand up for yourself about?
Oh, good question. There was a lot of family drama that she had, that a lot of it was gross and like just unnecessary and just cutting at each other's throats to cut at each other's throats. But she was such a family-oriented person that she would constantly be fighting for her family, and like we would go over to her family's like every weekend. And even if I had something going on, it was like if I'd attend my event, and then after my event is over, even if I was exhausted, I'd have to go over to her parents' place. And that her family was, they were high-functioning alcoholics, and that wasn't healthy for me to be around. My dad is an addict, and so I have a high addictive personality, and me being around that situation, I learned was not good for me. When I first started that relationship and like how normalized alcohol was in that household, I thought it'd be okay if I joined that. And it didn't take me long to realize that if I kept going down that path, I would become a horrible alcoholic. So I stepped away from alcohol, and I felt like I was fighting a part of myself every single time we'd go over to her parents. But at the same time, I loved her, and I didn't want to upset her, so I still would go. That's probably like the biggest place where I wish I would have stepped up more for my own well-being.
I know a lot of people get into habits and routines where they want to step out of it, and it's easy to say the sentence 3 years later and just be like, yeah, I just stopped.
Yeah.
What did that look like for you? Was that a struggle?
Yeah, it was alcohol, because at the time when we first started living together, she lived at my dad's house, and my dad and her parents were very good friends. So like it was very easy for alcohol to be either at our place or at her place, so it was consistently always there. And like if we'd go over to her parents' house, it was like almost practice. You had to take a specifically Fireball. I will not drink it anymore because of how much they were like, nope, you need a shot and a shot and a shot. And it would just be such easy peer pressure because everybody else was doing it. I had to say no. I realized it was a problem. I started journaling at 18, and in my journal I just wrote like how toxic I felt, like just physically. I was like, the more I drink, like I feel my stomach growing, I feel like my heart hurts, like I don't feel good, and if I keep doing this I could like die. Like this is unhealthy. So I just made a promise, like if I'm going to drink, it'll be beer or a seltzer only, and I'll have 2 to 3. And then after that, I will call it quits, and I will walk around with the same can and fill it up with water. And I would, so then it would look like I'm still drinking and be like, oh, I'm going to go get a drink, and walk in and just fill up back up with water. And then I'm not wasting any of their alcohol, but at the same time, I can pretend like I'm still involved with the group. And
did that work?
For me, yeah.
They never caught on?
They were too drunk to know. Just super sad. No, they never caught on. Even if they did, I don't think they would have really said anything, They could have shamed me, and maybe that's what I was scared of, which is why I felt like I had to put it in the can. But I was young, naive, and didn't really know what drinking was in like a social standpoint, and I thought that was normal, and I just thought my body couldn't keep up with what normal was. Turns out I'm just not an alcoholic. That's what it is.
That's good.
Yeah.
Why'd it end?
Ooh, the relationship?
Yeah.
It was hard. So we had been living together for 3 years. We had a house together, apartment together. We had a corgi and a cat. So, like, we had a whole family. I actually was looking up a ring. I was ready to get engaged and buy the ring. And we started having money problems at the apartment. So we backed out of the apartment and moved into her grandma's basement, which, come to find out later, it was infested with black mold.
Ooh.
And we lived there for 8 months, and there was, like, 2 windows in the basement. I got really depressed. She got really depressed. We both didn't want to admit it. We felt ill all the time, but didn't know why. Mold. And we basically would do 2 things, which was go to work and come home and eat. Like there was a month where we looked at how much we were spending on DoorDash. It was disgustingly amount. Like I think it was like $350 in a month for one of us. And that was just one of our accounts. We were just eating, really not taking care of ourselves, and I wanted to change. I was like, I'm tired of living this way. She was a nanny. I was like, you can be a nanny anywhere. I just graduated college December of 2022, and I just started thinking, like, what do I want for myself? Like, this is not what I want, is to rot in this basement. It's not what I want for myself. So I decided there was something in my brain, whether it was, you want to say it was God talking to me, whatever. You need to go act. Like, there was just this impulse that I need to go follow this thing that I have. So I wanted to move to LA. That was like the first thing I thought. I was like, if I want to be an actor, you go to LA. So I started talking to her about, hey, I want to go to LA. Like, is that something you would follow? And she basically immediately was like, no, I will not move to LA. And it turned into this like quiet, festering fight between the two of us, of me wanting to follow my dreams, but her not wanting to come with. And I didn't know what to do, so I just kept going to work and ended up kind of gaining a resentment towards her, which was led me to not be as a part of the shameful part of my relationship, where I just didn't treat her very well. We didn't go on dates. Literally, like, didn't talk to her at all because I felt this resentment towards her, that she didn't want me to follow my dreams. And then March or April of 23 came around. I still wanted to go to LA, and she had some family come into town that she'd never met, a cousin, and they ended up bonding immediately. And the cousin and her ended up talking a whole bunch, and the cousin invited her to move to Wisconsin with them. And I was like, well, why would you move to Wisconsin and not LA? Like, you don't want to support me, but you'd rather run home? Like, is that what you want? And it turned into more of a conversation that ended up not really happening because we both were kind of avoidant for conflict. A lot of that makes sense with our childhood. And yeah, there was April 30th of 2023, I drove out to Wisconsin with her, my dog, and her sister, moved her into her new place with her new family I was just meeting that day, slept on the couch while she slept in her room, and I remember sobbing for like 4 hours straight on that couch, like to the point where I was like almost puking, couldn't breathe. I felt like my world was caving in on itself because I knew what was happening. We went into this conversation with her moving, and I assumed it was going to be a long distance thing. She talked about how we'll try it long distance. And then I moved her in, met her new friends. One of her new friends immediately started hitting on her in front of me, and I got mad about it. And then she got mad at me for getting mad about it. And I was like, okay. And then she dropped me off at the airport the next day. And then we didn't talk. I kept trying to like text her with updates of me hanging out with friends and like trying to maintain the connection. And then she sent me a long text on Snapchat. Long text on Snapchat where she broke up with me over text. And I tried calling her. She wouldn't answer. She wouldn't respond to anything. I wrote down word for word that entire text message into my journal. And like even to this day, I'll go back and read it because there's definitely some things in there that I didn't realize was a problem from like what I was doing. So I've taken that in and absorbed it and tried to make a difference. But yeah, it broke up because she didn't want to come with me, and she said it was a lack of respect for me, or that she had for me, and then I was apparently lacking respect for what I had for her. And yeah, it ended while I was sleeping in her grandma's basement by myself, surrounded in mold. And then my best friend Trent, he just bought a house, and he's like, "You want to move in with me for free, just to get you out of there?" And I was like, "Yes, please." So then I moved into his place, and for the next I quit my job. I was too depressed. I did not like my job. I was working for a marketing company. Loved the people I worked with. The work itself bored me, and I knew I wanted more. So then I did freelance videography for 2 months while I lived at his place. There was a dispensary that opened up around the corner, so all I did was cry, go get high, and then make bomb food for him to come home to. And I did that for about 2 months, and then my brother graduated from college. And when I went up to see him, I was like, well, where do you want to go? What do you want to do for life? Like, what's next? And he's like, I have no idea. And I was like, well, why don't we figure out a place to go together? And then within like a 40-minute conversation, we both found jobs in acting and film for me, and him with mechanical engineering here in Austin. So within one conversation, we ended up deciding to come here, and then a month later, we moved down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where was Trent's place?
It's in a town called Alt, Colorado, AULT, or it stands for a unique little town. Yeah. I think it's like population like 550. It's growing, but it's a small town. Rural Colorado, eastern Colorado, there was like nobody there. There was a pizza shop that was okay, and bars. Like that, there's two things to do in that town, which is drink and go to work. But yeah, Alt, Colorado, that's where I moved to. Oh, God.
What's the tattoo on your leg say?
This one?
Yeah.
This one's
Oh,
Don't Grow Up. So actually, me and Trent have matching tattoos. This. The reason why is when 2021, January 21. Was it 22? Gosh, time flies. We both lost a friend. One of our good friends, one of my church friends actually, and one of his best friends through middle school. He had a truck rollover. He was driving home from work. According to the detective or whoever was looking at the crash site, he wasn't speeding. He was sober. He was buckled in, like total. They don't know why he went off the road, but he went off the road and rolled his truck 3 times, and he died. And after he passed, me and my best friend, Trent, we wanted to get something to commemorate him, so we both went and got a matching tattoo of "Don't Grow Up," forever be a kid, because you don't know when it's gonna end. So
It's true.
yeah, that's what this is.
You still have some resentment against your 3rd grade bullies, don't you? Why laugh?
Cause I do. There's out of all of the bullies, there's only one that I forgave. His name's Tanner. I loved his mom. His mom was very nice to me, and he was nice to me. And he was actually going to move schools with me in 3rd grade, but ended up backing out last minute. So then I went to this new school by myself. Anyways, I thoroughly hate people who think they're better than you just because of the situation that they're in. For example, with them being the coach's kid and always having playtime and always being on the field. If you're the coach's kid, you're gonna play. Like that's just how it is, and it's it's always been kind of an argument when it comes to sports. But the way that they treated me because of that just made me feel so low. And then when they found an enjoyment of putting me low, they always tried to find a way to put me lower. They would make fun of my mom, which nowadays, if you make fun of my mom, I will throw hands at you. I will make sure you will never do that again, because you do not talk ill on my mom. And, when your mom is a burn survivor and is covered in scars, like, first of all, everybody looks at her. Like, we'll be at the grocery store and people are making faces. It's just something you grow up with. But when the people on your own team who you're supposed to be collaborating with and working together, they're just sitting there making fun of you because they see your mom sitting in the stands and like just saying sickening things, it just would make me so upset. And then they'd laugh, and then they'd all laugh, and then I'd be like, cut it out, guys, it's just me. And then they would make fun of me for something personal or just something stupid like my double chin or something that was there. And honestly, I should learn to forgive them. Last time I checked, all of them are kind of working jobs that just suck and went to college, and some of them are just bums now. So it's like, really, at the end of the day, does it really matter? No, they had their prime time at 10 years old. Let them have that. So I guess, I do have a bit of resentment towards them still. They really messed me up for a long time. And then I started bullying people because I got bullied, and then quickly realized that that's horrible, and I couldn't do that. I felt so guilty and awful all the time. So then I just dropped the bullies and dropped everybody and restarted.
Why did you forgive Tanner?
because he cared. Also, like there was a couple other people on the team who like didn't necessarily bully me, but didn't stop it either. You know, just the quiet bystander. And Tanner was like the only one that would step up and tell the guys to shut up. And I always thought that was noble at the time and very kind of him to do when he didn't have to. So I think Tanner showed me that there was a line, and whenever it was crossed, he would make it known. And that was very respectable of him to do, especially for a third grader. So.
Let's see how this sits with you.
Okay.
If you let them hate you, that would let you do what?
Say that one more time.
If you let them hate you, that would let you do what?
If I let them hit me,
Hate
me, that would let me. This feels like a quiz question I don't know the answer to. That would let me. Well, nowadays I would say if I let them hate me, it lets me forget, because I can't control what they think, and if they're gonna hate me, they're gonna hate me. There's nothing I can really do about that, because I'd like to say I'm a pretty upstanding guy nowadays, so I don't give people much to hate. If I let them hate me, then I can.
How does that make you feel internally when you stated they lived their best life at 10 years old and some of them are bums now? Did that do anything for you? Did you feel good making that statement?
Kind of, yeah, actually, which is disgusting. Bring up a good point.
Let them hate you.
Yeah. It's not going to stop me. Especially now. I don't know why it did feel good. It felt... There's something about watching a bully or watching someone who thinks they're better than you end up falling short of what they could have been because they spent more time judging you or judging somebody else who's actually doing it. And I've gotten that from actors now that I'm an actor. I've gotten that from other classmates, but the biggest hatred that I felt was at that age, at that time. And I guess, let them fester, because it doesn't really change my path at all. At least right now.
What about the students and the other actors? If they do or say something that is negative towards you, how does that affect you?
Now I tend to just respond of just wait and see. If anything, it lights it increases the flame that's under my ass to have something to prove. I do a lot of my art and acting and filmmaking and stuff for me. And I have such a passion for it. And out of all things I've done, it's the thing that doesn't bore me and has it won't. And to anybody who doesn't believe in me, goes against what I think I have the potential for, it makes me realize that people are too quick to judge, and that you don't know what's going to happen next. You never know who your meeting will turn into. So when I'm an actor, if I'm on set with a first-time director, I'm going to treat them with the same amount of professional respect as I would a veteran, because I don't know if that youngster is going to turn up to be the next, Spielberg. You never know. So if I get the hate towards me, I just let it go. There's no point in letting it fester, and if I don't let it go, I just turn it into more passion to prove them wrong.
How old were you in third grade? 9?
Yeah,
Most kids, I think.
probably.
You're 24
Sounds
now?
right. Yeah.
15 years.
Yeah. 15.
What was the first name only, or you can make up a name, or you could write it down because I want to know what the name is. What is the first name of whatever bully you had in third grade that you currently still have the most resentment against?
They're twins. There's 2.
He had an answer so damn quick. You didn't even hesitate for a second. They're
It's true. They've been in my mind since we started talking about.
I so hope they're listening to this.
I hope so. You know what, Tate and Jace, if you're listening to this, fuck you. What you did to me. Golly, yeah, Tate specifically.
What'd Tate do?
He was the youngest narcissist I have ever met. Period. He to give you a little look in on his character. There was a time where we were going up against, I think it was for regionals, and we were behind. And Tate, I forget what position it was, because he would change. He was pulled off the field and replaced by a second string. And he literally cried on the playing field, throwing a temper tantrum about the fact that he wasn't going to be able to play the next play. Like, he was literally being removed till the next, like, round, whatever it is. I'm not a football aficionado. And he just had an attitude that was so narcissistic, and no matter how much he would make fun of you, he could do it in front of his dad, who was the coach, and the dad wouldn't say anything, like, wouldn't really step up. And it drove me nuts how everybody took his narcissism, selfishness, and judgment for others and took it as normal. Like, nobody really batted an eye towards it besides me, because I was the one getting most of the face of it. Ugh, it's just sickening. And you know, like anybody that's somebody else's kid. It all comes down to parenting and how you're brought up. But, oof. He sickens me to think about. I don't even know where he's at, to be honest.
It's interesting that I said, what was one of the worst things that Tate did to you?
Mm-hmm.
And you gave a story of a time that he cried on the football field, which he didn't actually do anything to you.
No. He, to me, like what he would do to me.
Why? Wait, real quick though.
Yes.
Why do you think that was the story you defaulted to?
I wanted to show you his character because there was a couple like one-off things he did, but his general personality and the beratement he had for me was so consistent that it wasn't like one or two standoff situations that would bring me down. It was more who he was and his general approach to me as a person that was never, ever, ever, ever cohesive in any positive direction. Or when he would be positive, he would get just close enough to me to be able to stab a knife in me and then turn around and laugh about it. I wanted, because I just think someone who throws a temper tantrum for not being able to play a play is, I think that says a lot about him. I think that's why I brought it up.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
What do you know about Tate's family and how he grew up?
What I do know is that his parents also had a divorce. His dad was the head coach. I actually liked his dad, but I also did not like his dad because his dad never fought for me. And they were twins, and then they have a stepbrother named Elliot. And actually, I really like Elliot. He was on the football team. It was funny that his brothers I hated, but Elliot, I got along with. And yeah, I think it's a testament to, like, I don't know everything that happens behind closed doors, and oftentimes a bully is going to be lashing out to other people to what they feel at home. So I know that there was probably more behind the scenes that I don't know of, but it definitely did affect me. Yeah.
I'm going to play devil's advocate for Tate for a moment.
Perfect. I love a devil's advocate.
Before I do you know anything else about his personal life?
His biological mom was super nice, but I don't think he ever really saw her too much. Again, this is testing 15-year-old knowledge.
Sure.
But no.
Did they grow up religious? Do you know?
Yes, I think they were both Christian.
Anyone make fun of him?
I want to make fun of him?
Did anyone? Did you ever witness it?
Did anybody? No. No, I saw him do all the picking, and then everybody else would get, like, if you don't pick the bully, you don't poke the bear, is kind of the mentality that people had with him.
I'm just thinking about, all the things that you mentioned when you were, that you were going through when you were 13 and younger. So what little I know about Tate, his parents are divorced, which is very frustrating. His dad, who is a head coach, in his mind, he probably has this expectation, whether it was ever stated to him or not, that he needs to be the best person on that field in front of hundreds of people at only 9 years old. He has a twin, so he's had a competitor probably since the day he was born, because I have a brother, and that's just how we are. And
True.
I'm not sure if you and...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
His mom, who is potentially his biggest support system, was gone from the picture. Potentially. We don't know. And with all of this going on, he's also trying to form in his head what this whole religion, God, spirituality thing is that's supposed to be a source of comfort, and yet his whole life is swirling in chaos and pressure.
Man. God, life really is about perspective, isn't it?
The unfortunate part of this story is I want to go back in time and give every one of these young men a hug.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of winners in this story right now.
No.
And I hope you know, because I'm going to pull us out of this spot we're in a couple minutes.
Okay.
But I think it's important because I like you and I care about you. And I definitely picked up that resentment, as I'm sure the audience did too. And I will go back to my question. If you let them hate you, that would let Austin do what? What's your mission? You put it down on your guest form in one sentence. Didn't you?
I think I did. Could you remind me? Because I think I know what it would be. My life mission statement.
It had something specifically to do with film. Or maybe not film, but hang on.
Mm-hmm.
wasn't it something along the lines of creating art that people could relate to?
Mhm. Yeah, I want to make things that people don't feel like they waste their time enjoying, and something that everybody could pull out a piece of to relate to. Yeah.
If you let them hate you, would that allow Austin to create art that people could relate to?
Yeah.
It seems sort of generic. I don't think that's the end of that sentence.
I don't think it is either. If I let them hate me, it gives me the freedom to do what I need to do. If I don't think about them hating me. It's such an interesting question.
Let's go back to 9-year-old you.
Okay.
To the best of your capabilities, if you had just let Tate done Tate, how would that have impacted 9-year-old Austin?
If I just let him do what he did and not react, kind of thing?
Yeah.
I think eventually I would learn that it's just a front for him to find an escape of his pain eventually. And if I had just let him do what he did and not fed into it by fighting back and saying that I didn't like it, he probably would have gotten bored and eventually realized that what he's doing is not worth it.
Maybe you wouldn't have turned into a bully yourself.
I probably wouldn't have. Yeah, I probably wouldn't have.
You have any way to contact him?
Maybe Facebook? I could probably find him on Facebook. I think I follow his dad on Facebook.
Don't say it, but do you know his last name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. Should I reach out to him?
I'd be very curious what would happen if you did. Hey, I don't know if you remember me. We played football at so-and-so high school together when we were in 3rd grade, and I just wanted to reach out. I went on this random dude's podcast, and even though we poked some fun at each other, I just wanted to see how you're doing, see how life is treating you, because this guy told me I should. This crazy guy in Austin, Texas, gave me this stupid idea, and I'm following his instructions.
Yeah. No, it's actually a good idea. It's funny, I thought I'd been living more of a judgment-free life more recently, and I think you've painted that maybe there's a lot of demons I've shoved in the closet, closed off, and forgot about. And secretly have been judging since. I think it's what you've done here.
All right, good episode. Bye.
Yeah, bye. No, it's, that's just, you grow up, and especially I think when you're young, when something bad happens to you, you almost take it forever as like, that's a bad thing, and that bad thing happened to me, and I'm allowed to think it's a bad thing. But simply you just telling the perspective of what he was going through, and how similar it was to what I was going through, and honestly, the two of us probably could have found a common ground and built a good friendship off of, but rather just bullied each other. It's crazy how, like, maybe one conversation could have changed the difference of how that relationship ended. Fascinating.
We're going to shift gears here a little bit.
Okay.
In the intro, I don't know if you picked up on it or not. You may have been nervous thinking about where the episode was going to go, but I told a very quick 7-second story about why I do this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
There are teens in Austin, Texas, taking their own lives. All over the world, unfortunately.
Yes.
You've been impacted by this.
Yes.
How much or how little can we talk about?
We can talk about, honestly, all of it. I think this is something that needs to be talked about more. And as someone who almost took his own life, and by the grace of God and my mother, I'm still here. I think hearing people struggling with the same things you're struggling with, even if it's not verbatim the same, I think is very important. So I'm fully here to talk about it.
Where do we begin?
Maybe
With a sip of water
Yeah,
that
sip
went
of
down
water.
the wrong pipe.
Oh no! Yeah, chase it with more water.
Here we go.
There you go. I think before I step into my fight with mental illness, depression, and the thoughts of suicide, I think I want to talk about some other people that I've lost first. The first hit of suicide that happened with my life was a mutual, really good friend of mine and my brother's, whose name is Jack Headley. And he was really close friends with my brother through the end of middle school or elementary school, and almost through end of elementary and then through middle school. And at the end of middle school, this asshole named Storm, his name is literally Storm, ended up taking Jack under his wing, and through high school started partying, introduced Jack to drugs and alcohol, and before Jack took his life, he was very mentally depressed. His biological dad died saving him when he was like 2 on a boat, and that stuck with him. I don't know all of Jack's mental battles, but I do know at the end it overcame him. He was getting ready to go to the military. He was 17. Like, we just had the assembly where, at least at my school, we'd get all the people who were going to the military. We'd bring him up to the front and applaud him. He was there, and that was the last time I saw him. A couple weeks after, I was in math class. I was in Algebra 2, and the whole school went on lockdown. And, I'm a freshman at the time, or maybe I was just Algebra 1, so I'm a freshman at the time. And first bit of high school, the whole school goes into lockdown. We start watching a shitty movie. I think we watched Shark's Tale or something in class, doesn't matter. And 20 minutes goes by, still lockdown. 30 minutes go by, lockdown. And then all of a sudden out the window, I see a whole bunch of cop cars. I see an ambulance pull up, and they start going along this street that went behind our school. And then I get a call from my mom in class while we're still under lockdown, and she's crying, and she goes, "Hey, are you in lockdown? Like, are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, do you know something? Like, what's going on?" She said, "Yeah, I just found out it was Jack." And I was like, "What do you mean? What do you mean it was Jack? What does that have to do, like, with what's going on?" And she's like, "I don't know how to tell you." I was like, "Well, just tell me." And he shot himself on the sidewalk outside of school. He lived close to home. He was in welding class with a couple of my friends that I met later, and he ran home, grabbed his gun, and took his life on the sidewalk outside of class. And that one was really hard. That one hit different. One thing that I've learned through all of my friends who've killed themselves, and myself included, is they're the funniest until they're not. He's a beautiful man, destined to do a lot of great things, and fell into the wrong group, and they took advantage of his mental illness by feeding it.
I am so sorry.
It's okay.
It's actually sort of ironic that alarm went off and that I forgot to turn it off. I'm not a very religious person, but every night at 8 p.m. Central Time, I have an alarm goes off with one word on it, and it says to pray. So ironic that happened
at that time
during that portion of the conversation. I apologize.
It's okay. A little jump scare woke me up.
Well, and we have noise canceling headphones on, so it literally sounded like God himself was coming back to breathe.
Sounded like a tank was going through the wall next door.
I'm
is what
so
it
sorry.
sounded like. It's okay.
My God,
Oh.
worst podcaster ever. It's my first episode.
Fine, you're
I'm
fine,
sorry.
you're okay.
It's my first episode. I don't do this very often.
Oh. No, that was fun. It lightened up the mood. But yeah, I remember being in high school. And at about that time, I was starting to fight some of my own mental illness journey was kind of starting then. And after he had died, it didn't feel real for a while. I went home that same day and just cried. And my brother, that was the kind of the day my brother went really mute when it came to how he was feeling. He, to this day, he's pretty shut down with how he's feeling. And it all kind of started then. And, you know, we attended his candlelight vigil. It didn't feel real then. There was something that happened to me at the vigil where I couldn't cry. And I built a lot of resentment on myself of, like, why couldn't I cry for my friend after he had died? And to this day, I don't really know why. I think it was because I related to him, and it scared me. And being a part and seeing how much his death affected everybody else who I love around me, it made me feel really selfish thinking that kind of way. And so that was Jack, and I still, on the sidewalk where he took his life, there's a bench that is commemorated towards him. And every single time I go out to Colorado, I go grab myself a box combo and a Coca-Cola, and I go eat it on top of his bench because that was his favorite meal. And I share it with him.
From Taco Bell?
Canes?
Oh, okay.
Did I say that? Maybe
You
I
said
did.
box combo, but you
Oh,
didn't say
sorry.
Cane's. I had to know.
Sorry.
I had to
It's
know.
the box combo. You don't know? It's
There's
the
a lot
box
of
combo.
places with the box combos,
Yeah, I
Austin.
Cane's box combo.
Okay.
So that was my first friend that I had lost to suicide. The second was in my junior year of high school. I had another good friend, Mitch, who was genuinely the life of the party. Consistently, oh my God, every room he walked into, he made sure everybody else was smiling by the time he left. He was a stand-up comic who got good grades. Like, the teachers hated him but loved him at the same time. And he was dating this girl at the time. He was head over heels for her. There's a day I had a math class with him, and he came in with a giant teddy bear in one hand and the other just a goldfish. Just had a goldfish in a bag that he took to classes all day. He's like, yeah, I bought her a goldfish. And I was like, what? All right. It's just kind of the goofy guy he was. But he consistently made everybody else's life better than his. And prom night, the couple days before prom, his girlfriend broke up with him, didn't want to go to prom with him, yada, yada. Well, prom night, my junior year, I didn't go to prom. I worked, and then after prom was over, I did go to the after party, which was at, like, Main Event, like the arcade bowling alley places. It was at one of those. And when I was in the arcade section, I walked by him and hugged him. He was with a couple of his friends, and I was just asking how he's doing, because I knew that the breakup had happened. And he was really smiley, really bubbly. I didn't know that was the night he was going to kill himself. I hugged him. He was just in such a good mood. I wasn't worried about him at all. And that scares me to this day sometimes, is like, if one of my friends is almost weirdly happy, I always stick around a little bit longer, because I'm scared that that's them putting on a front and masking what they're really going through, which people are really good at. People are really good at masking how they're actually feeling. And that night, he, outside of the middle school, shot himself in the car. And then 2 of my other friends found him the next day. And, yeah, called the cops and whatever. But hearing that news, only 2 years after Jack had committed suicide, it was very back to back. So in my life, Jack committed suicide. The next year, my grandmother died. And then the next year, my friend Mitch died, also to suicide. And I was so broken I didn't feel anything. I was like numb. I felt like a part of me feel like I could have saved him. I couldn't have. That's just not how it works. He had made that decision probably days before. And I don't know. There's a pain that comes when you lose someone, especially to suicide, that is unmatched to most other pain. Because all you feel is that you wanted to help them. You wish you could have been there more. You start beating yourself up for a decision that you had no part in doing. And then you wonder why. Why would they do that? And then through that questioning, you end up getting mad at them that they made such a selfish decision to kill themselves. At least that's what I did. And it's part of the grief cycle. But then after the funeral for Mitch, I was so empty. I couldn't cry, I couldn't get mad. I just was neutral. And then I went out to the park with one of my friends who I had a super big crush on. I had a crush on this girl for 7 years. And we went out to the park, and she treated me just like a human. And then she started getting mad at Mitch for being selfish. And it turned into this very beautiful conversation about me admitting that I had also thought about killing myself. And that the pain of seeing everybody else hurt this much that I had to remove those thoughts from my head. Whatever that meant, however much work that would cost. Because there's one thing when you feel so empty and full of pain that you don't want to be here anymore. But then you find the humanity in other people through such sadness that it gives you hope. And it also makes you not want to continue the cycle of pain. So,
Did you find that through that young lady and that conversation, or was it other things that you were picking up on?
I think the conversation sparked what I eventually came across. Because the spark conversation between me and her was a lot to do with why are we so young but making such big decisions like taking ourselves off the planet, and how we have so much more to live and see, and cutting it so short because you're upset at something is just disrespectful to yourself. And the biggest thing that I've learned through my mental battle and with losing other people is you don't know what is going to happen to you, good or bad. And you have to be able to take the bad with the good. And I hate that I quote this, but it's from South Park, out of all things. But Butters talks about in one episode, it's like when he's getting with the emos, that in order to feel sadness, it means that you have had to have felt something so good. And you have to be able to understand the comparison between what makes you genuinely happy and what really hurts you. And you have to take the pain with the good. And I found a lot of connection to that, which was after my friends had killed themselves, which is so funny that it's from South Park. But there's a lot of truth in it. And it's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel these things. And there's something about specifically teens now and starting from when I was a teen where this uptick of suicides just it continues to rise, and a lot of it comes from not feeling like there's a true connection with the people around you. And oftentimes all it takes to save a life is just to be there. So I like to think whenever someone's talking to me, like I want to give them the full attention, because there's people that I know that are dead that didn't get that. And the reason they're dead is because they didn't get the attention. You never know who you're talking to.
Yeah. There could be someone, there probably is someone listening right now who found us because they YouTubed something and it led them to the show notes, and they, on a leap of faith, hit play, and they are here listening. If you knew where Mitch and Jack were at in their headspace, what would you have said to them?
I would have loved to promise them that it would be okay. But that's when you're in such a dark and deep sadness that comes with suicide. You don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear hope, because it feels fake. It feels distant. It doesn't feel like it's real. So knowing where I'm at now and what I know, and if I knew that where they were at, I would just sit with them. I don't think it's important to pry. Sometimes that can push someone over the limit when you sit there and you pry and you pry and you pry. But often, like, some of the best times I had with my mental health journey was just sitting with somebody. And all of a sudden, all the jokes and surface level stuff floats away, and you just sit there, and then the pain hits, and eventually you'll find yourself saying that you're not okay. And it really just takes the patience and time for another individual to sit there and listen to you. Now, I couldn't promise them anything, because that's another thing that's a hard part, is you want to promise someone that they're going to be okay and things are going to change, but you also don't know that. But if you promise that you're going to be there through it, and you hold up to that promise, it's about the best you can do. And also just, there's a lot of power in following your dreams, but really finding a purpose. And whenever I find somebody who's struggling mentally, I like to distract them by not talking about what they're going through, but rather what they want to do. And most of the time, they'll just say it's not possible, it's not going to happen. Why would I even want to try to shoot for the next thing? And sure, it's not going to happen exactly how you think. And even me being where I'm at now, my life has not happened the way I thought it was going to happen. But if you give it a chance, you don't know. And this whole life is a gamble. I mean, you're like everybody's a 1 in something trillion odd chance of even existing. So removing yourself from the equation isn't going to give you an answer. It's just going to give other people more of a problem.
That's a beautiful answer. Just sit with them.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Did someone sit with you?
Yeah.
Do you think they knew, or do you think they sensed?
I think they sensed.
They sensed.
And I think part of why we just sat was because neither of us really knew how to talk about it. Which again, like, can be another thing. If you don't know how to talk about what you're going through, having to feel obligated to, like, if it's therapy that, like, you get brought to because you admit something in a doctor's appointment, and now you're sitting in therapy feeling like you have to objectively talk about what you're going through, which arguably could push you away from even talking about it because now you're on the pressure. But just sitting there and feeling the connection with another human, even if it's through silence, makes you have a better appreciation for that moment. And eventually that moment snowballs into you wanting more moments like that. And over time gives you more of a purpose.
You brought up following your dreams.
Yeah.
What's your dream?
My biggest dream is to impact as many people as I can in a positive light. One of my active goals that I try to give is lighting up the spark, or at least giving the seed for someone to follow their dreams. Because, my dream, of course, is I want to act. That's a big part of it. I want to make films. But a lot of that is my purpose and less my dreams. Now, I've learned that's my purpose through experience and time and getting myself out there and following the kernels of a dream. But as you even as I followed this, and now acting's becoming, like, this week I'm in a feature film. I'm acting in the next 3 days, and then this weekend I'm on set, and just constantly, like, it's really fascinating. And 12-year-old me would be like, what? What? You are doing what? Is you'll find a further point of what your dream is. Like, selfishly, my dream was to be an actor, but now it's to prove that following that your gut instinct and what you're supposed to do is real, but also to make art and make things that people can relate to. And I want to speak to more people and give them hope than anything else.
How do you feel?
I am very content with where my life is. It's hectic, and my schedule's stocked full, but I think it's blessed. I'm very blessed to have as busy of a schedule as I have. I've found a lot of respect for myself, a lot of purpose within what I'm doing. I have such a strong support structure. I genuinely don't. I'm so lucky. I know I'm so lucky. And I'm just content. I'm not pushing for more. I'm taking every opportunity that comes at me, and I learn from it, and then I see how it can apply to the things I want to work on in the future. And every day I wake up with a task, and 80% of the time that task makes me excited, and that's better than I've ever felt in my life. So I feel like I'm on the right path, is what it feels like.
We have something in common. I've told people the last 3 years I've never been busier and I've never been happier.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how those two things came at the same time, where I'm like, I should be miserable right now, right?
Yeah.
No time for anything.
No.
I'm like, no, I'm very happy, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My coach, Marshall, at Playhouse ATX, he always says, if you want something done, you give it to the busy person. And it's very true. If you want something done, you give it to the busy person. And I'm always the busy person. If someone in class needs something, they go to me first. And sometimes it can feel like a little burdensome, and sometimes it can be overwhelming. Like, I'm not going to admit that every day of my life I'm excited to do everything I have to do. But knowing I have something to work for, like, I've been, like, when I lived in that basement with my ex, I was stagnant, stationary, doing the same thing every day. Like, there was nothing for me to look forward to. I felt like there was nothing on my schedule besides go to work and go home. And now it's like today, I work, and then I go home, I take a shower, I come onto a podcast, go to bed, wake up, go to work, write up a script, finish the script, turn it in by Wednesday. Wednesday night I'm filming. Like, it's just a cycle that doesn't stop, and I would much rather be in this situation than sitting at home festering on my thoughts, wishing for more. And at first I was like, I don't want to be busy. I like my free time. I like playing games and just sitting on my ass. But now I'm like, the idea of playing a video game, I'm like, this is boring to me.
Yeah.
Like, it's like there's so much more I could be doing. And that constant battle of figuring out the next thing is keeps me on my toes, and it also just makes me feel human. You know, it makes me feel like I can make mistakes and learn from them and not judge myself, because there's such small things that build up to a big thing, rather than secretly wanting the big thing and judging myself for not taking any steps to go after it.
Yeah. You know, Marshall put into words something that I've been thinking on for about maybe a year now. It is interesting that the easiest people to get on the show are the busiest ones. And sometimes when someone texts me because I've been trying to get them on the show, and they respond back and say, "Life is really busy right now," I subconsciously immediately they're dead to me. Well, that was harsh, but because I'm like, well, if Austin can make it on with his schedule, why can't you? That's the thought process that
Yeah.
goes through my head, is like, how busy are you really?
Yeah.
I really want to say that to someone, but I hold back. I try to, I just say, all right, let me know.
It's probably for the better.
Yeah.
But it is true, like I don't like to say no. If you ask any of my friends, they're like, you need to say no sometimes, and I'm like, okay, maybe sometimes I'll say no. But if an opportunity lands on my plate, like, I think a lot of it comes down to, with my battle of mental health and losing the friends I have, because I lost 2 of my friends to cancer. I lost my friend in the rollover accident. I lost another friend to brain cancer at 21 years old. And I've lost another friend to an accidental suicide, where he was drunk and playing with a gun. And point being, you never know when your last day is going to be. And if an opportunity comes to you, you should be honored and just see if it excites you at all, follow it. Just go do it. I've never been on a podcast before. And then you reached out, I was like, yeah, what do you mean? Of course I want to be on a podcast. And then we found a time, and, here I am. And people saying that they're busy is often like a big excuse to how they really feel, which is that they're scared. And it's more of an excuse than truth, because everybody has time. Everybody has time. If you have time to sit for 3 hours on your phone and doom scroll, you have time to do one action in your day to follow your dream or follow an opportunity.
Speaking of fear,
Ooh.
I have this a friend of mine who he wasn't a friend, he was a stranger, but he was doing a workout in the gym, and it was just a slight variation of something I do. And I went up to him. I was like, hey, do you like that more than like the traditional way that most people do that? And we got to talking, and then we got to talking about his work. And he was in the military, Air Force, I believe, and his specific job was to go into hostile territories and rescue American VIPs and get them out safely. So I asked him, would you come on the podcast? And he goes, ooh, I don't think so. And I said, did you sign some sort of like NDA or something, and the military doesn't want you giving specifics, or like why that was a very quick rejection, which is completely fine. But I'm just curious, because I don't get this opportunity to ask people why they say no very often. And this guy also, for context, is like 6'3", all muscle, jacked, nickname Goliath. And he says, and I quote, "That sounds scary."
Wow. The Goliath getting scared over a podcast, huh?
Yeah. And
Wow.
I ran into him probably a dozen more times over the next 6 months. And I didn't bring it up every time, but I think I brought it up 2 more times. And he was just like, dude, every time you ask me that question, I get butterflies in my stomach.
Wow. That's so interesting.
But he'd jump on a plane right now and go rescue some people if we needed him to.
That's great. Yeah. That's so good. Don't ask him to talk about anything, though.
No.
Just let him do his thing.
Yeah.
Wow. A recent thing that I found, a lot of it having to do with acting, because consistently, like with the work that I have to do, is a lot of pushing my own boundaries and doing situations and things that I wouldn't normally do. We live in the extreme as an actor, and you have to be able to take it real and personally. At least that's how I train. And it's interesting that he's scared of that, because what and the words you said of butterflies specifically, chemically speaking, in the brain, excitement and nervousness are the exact same chemical reaction. Mm-hmm. It is entirely up to your perspective on that topic to get of how you will respond. And I have learned fascinatingly that if I am nervous about something, 5 words of a pep talk of "you got this," like just a quick change of perspective, all of a sudden my brain's like, "You're right. You're right. This is something I can do." And like, I just find it funny that so many people are driven by fear when really, in all actuality, sometimes it's that they're excited about it, and they let the butterfly feeling of their brain and their stomach turn them to like think it's fear. That guy probably has some great things, and he's missing out on this converse, like just being here. Huh.
We're not quite ending, but I do want to shift gears a little bit.
Yeah.
To the audience, real quick, if you guys have enjoyed this episode, or if you feel like there is someone out there that could benefit from hearing this episode, I need you to do one small thing, but it means the world, and it helps way more than you would know. Follow the show on Spotify, follow on Apple Podcasts, or subscribe if you're listening on YouTube today. If you do the small favor to me, my commitment to you guys will be that every Saturday night, I will bring you more stories like Austin's to be a candle in the darkness as you're navigating whatever part of your story that you're in. So do me this favor. Depending on how Austin reacts to this, we might wrap up the episode. We may not.
Okay.
I have a thank you gift for you.
You have a thank you gift for me?
Yeah, for coming on the show and your time. You're very busy, and I'm appreciative, so I wanted to give you a gift for being here
That's
tonight.
so kind of you.
You can hear me okay in your headphones?
I can, yeah.
My dearest Austin, there are moments as a mother when you pause and look at your child, not just as your child anymore, but as the incredible human they are becoming. And I find myself in that space with you often. You are so gifted, Austin. I've watched you step in front of the camera and behind it with a natural talent that can't be taught. Your creativity, your wisdom, your dedication to your craft, it's all so evident. But if I'm being honest, it's not your talent that makes me the proudest. It's your heart. Your heart for others, your heart for God, your heart for truly living your life with purpose and intention as you grow in who you are. That's what shines the brightest. That's what makes you unforgettable, and that's what this world so deeply needs. That and your ability to always know how to make me and everyone around you smile. I'm forever grateful that God chose me to be your mom. Truly, what a gift it is for you to call me Ma. I want you to always know this. I will be your loudest cheerleader always. I will celebrate every win, big or small, and I will stand beside you through every challenge. I am so proud of all that you are accomplishing and all that you will continue to build through your hard work, your dedication, and your incredible talents. But I am just as proud, if not more, of how you handle the hard moments, the mistakes, the times when life doesn't go as planned. Those moments matter, Austin. They are shaping you, teaching you, and holding some of life's greatest wisdom. And I've seen you walk through them with a strength and humility that speaks volumes about who you are. One of my greatest treasures is how our relationship has grown. What started as mother and son has beautifully evolved into a true friendship, a safe place where we both can be fully ourselves, sharing the highs, the lows, and everything in between. That is something I will never take for granted. Always remember this: you have a safe place to land. No matter how far you travel in this life, you have a place where you are deeply loved, fully seen, and endlessly supported. You are a light in this world, Austin, a light that was created to shine boldly. And I am so grateful that I get a front row seat to your life, to be in rooms you're in, watching you become everything you are meant to be. I love you more than words will ever fully capture. Forever your Ma, and forever your biggest fan. Love, Mom.
God damn it. You printed the transcript? Oh my god. Oh.
You are radiating with light right now.
You know, I feel so loved. First of all, she's a poet. She's always been really good at reminding me about how special I am and that it's okay to be that way. And her ceiling became my floor very quickly. And I can't imagine not having this support, you know? Ugh. Damn it, Mom. Yeah, I'm very blessed to have her, as you could hear. She continues to just, no matter what decisions I make, she's just there, and no judgment. Even if she has it, she'll hide the judgment, and then she'll tell me later. But, God. I was going to not cry today, but that's okay. It's fine. It's fine. It took work from both of us. I think everybody, you know, in any relationship, in any friendship, in any connection, you know, it takes work and grace. I just have never met anybody else with as much grace as she has. That's for damn sure.
If I can play devil's advocate for you, because I have not done that yet this episode, I could see why those kids talking shit about your mom really brought out the darkest side of you.
Yeah.
Because she seems like an amazing woman. And I also have a very close connection with my mom. And I never was in that situation. No one ever made fun of her for anything. Any bullying that I received was always directed at me. It never extended to my friends or not to say that they didn't get bullied, but it wasn't through me, you know, or they didn't make fun of my brother or my sisters or my parents. But, you know, if I found out that someone was talking shit about one of my younger sisters, even now, I would have to check myself. I'd probably be calling my therapist and be like, hey, I'm about to do something that's going to land me in prison.
Yeah.
Emergency session, please.
Talk me out of it right now. Yeah.
So I just wanted you to know, in case I beat you up a little bit earlier, you know,
Okay.
I see your side of the road too.
Yeah. It's funny, both me and my older brother have gotten into fights over our mother because people bullied. I mean, like, my mom is, you know, she's the most beautiful soul to exist. And, but I mean, when you see her on the outside, and, you know, kids are such quick to judge people, that when you see someone who's, you know, impaired in any way, amputee, burn scars, bald, whatever it is, you know, they're gonna find a way to just
leave me alone. It really has been heavy the last 96 hours. I was with a lot of friends this weekend, and I'm kidding. It doesn't bother me. It truly doesn't.
No. Well, it's just, you know, they'll find the physical, and then they'll make justification on usually making fun of it. And both my brother went to the principal's office once, and it was because he, like, decked a kid for talking bad about my mother, and I've wrestled and gotten into fights over the same thing, and it's clearly for a reason, because
Does she know that?
yeah.
Did she know it at the time?
My brother's, yes, because the principal's office called my mom about it. Mine, no. My mom did not know for a bit. I didn't want to be just like a hero in her eyes just because of hero. I wanted that to be a thing for me. And to this day, if someone makes fun of my mom, and I've seen people, like, make faces and clearly say shit behind her back, and that gets my blood boiling sometimes, and I have to just
Yeah.
they don't know. And she's just such a beautiful person. She deserves all the love, and whenever she doesn't get that, I get upset about it. Yeah, this is great.
I'm glad you like that.
This is great. This is going up.
Yeah, she lets them make faces behind her back so she can let herself go win competitions.
Yeah. I know, right?
And that's why I was pressing that so hard. And I don't think we have the answer now. I think you'll have to think on that one, and maybe one day you'll be doing the let me side of the equation.
Yeah.
And you'll realize it in the moment and be like, oh, this is what me and David were trying to answer 3 years ago.
Yeah, and I'll text you and be like, I figured it out.
Yeah, please
I got
do.
the answer. Yeah, I know it's crazy growing up, and my mom, she was never proud of her scars for the longest time, and when she won Mrs. Colorado, spoilers to my mom's everything, but she won Mrs. Colorado, and God, when she did, we were so proud. I still am so proud of her, and she proved to everybody that it doesn't matter, and that you could be super beautiful on the inside, and you don't have to be perfect on the outside to be appreciated. And sticks with me so tightly.
Wasn't there either a genre of movies or a particular show or something that we were talked about potentially nerding out over for a few minutes, or was that someone else?
There was a couple I think I talked about. Do you want to nerd out over movies?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's a movie you want to nerd out about?
I'm about to, hopefully very soon, I'm having a friend over, and I'm going to have him, we're going to watch Barbarians.
Oh, Barbarian's so good.
Did we talk about this?
We talked about Barbarian. Yeah, we did talk about Barbarian.
This was you. Okay,
This
was
was 'cause
either you or
I
Ben.
forgot who we talked about, but yeah, but we did talk about Barbarian. Yeah. Talk about a great movie. I love what they've been pushing out in the horror genre lately. It's funny. I hated scary stuff. Hated it growing up.
Really?
Absolutely hated it. Could not stand. I went to an amusement park on a Fright Night, like when they have all the scary stuff out, and I genuinely told, because it was me, a couple of my friends, and then these girls, and I had a crush on 3 of them, and I was so scared shitless in the middle of it, I almost shit myself. that I announced to the girls I was interested in, had a crush on. I was like, guys, I have to go. I'm going to shit myself. And then I went and relieved myself in the bathroom and didn't show my face for the rest of the night.
No?
No.
You left?
I sat in the car. I was so embarrassed. But now, it's so funny that that's what I love horror now, specifically horror films. I just watched Undertone. I don't know if you've...
Yes, tell us.
So Undertone is actually about a podcast, where it's about this girl taking care of her sickly mother who's comatose, and her friend from the UK have this podcast where they bring up scary stories and myths and curses and debunk them and listen to them. And in this one series, they get a random number calling in, or a random email sends them 10 voice memos, and across the voice memos it's this couple who records themselves at night. And I won't spoil it, but the movie progresses where basically they introduce that curse through the podcast into their lives, and it's so well done. It's the lines are very horror lines. It's not the best dialogue in the world. However, the sound design, because she's wearing headphones in the podcast, and you start hearing these things, and you don't know if it's happening in her headset or if it's happening in the room with her. I love good sound design. I love it. And the way it's shot is she'll be off in the corner, and the camera, you only see this much of her in the corner, and the rest of it is just open space that's dark, so you don't know if something's gonna pop out, and it's just anxiety ridden. Fantastic movie.
It's in theaters right now, right?
I think so. Yeah.
I should try to go see that this weekend. I forget what movie it is, but I have the one speaker that's right under the TV, and then there's two more on this counter, which isn't the best setup. One should be probably over there, but that's a different.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Oh God, I wish I could remember what the movie was, but what they did was they made all of the volume come out of the front speaker. And then when like the first jump scare happened, whatever it was, like max volume from the side speakers, and it got both Thad and I. We jumped a mile. We were sitting in that recliner, super comfortable. I think I was drinking some tea or something.
Nice.
Just very pleasant night, enjoying the movie, figuring out what is going on here.
Boom.
And then, dude, it just... I haven't been so scared as an adult. I don't remember the last time I was that scared.
Oh, wow. Now I love a jump scare. I don't like a movie that's riddled with them, where it's like every 10 minutes. It's gross. It's too much. But like one solid or two solid jump scares in a movie is so good. You'll have to, if you can remember what movie that is, you'll have to let me know.
If it comes back to me, I will.
No pressure.
I think I asked you before we started recording, are you a Black Mirror fan?
I like Black Mirror. I need to watch more. The episodes I've watched, one my favorite episodes, I really like the first episode, the Star Trek one, where it's like the guy control. I like that one. My other favorite episode is like the society runs on a 5-star rating, and like you have to have a certain amount of stars to get into certain apartments, and like instead of being judged on money, like you're judged on societal standard and like how you present yourself. I think that one's really interesting, and specifically talking about like how our society works and how I could see a world where that's how our life is like controlled, and everyone's fake just to have a good score and like have a set standard and stuff. But I do like Black Mirror. I do like it.
That's like it's so on point, that episode, because even back in February, there's this old couple that approached me and they thanked me for the podcast because they said they were going to share it with their grandson, because their grandson's only mission in life was to get up to 10,000 followers on Instagram. And some of the stuff that he was posting was illegal, and his school was threatening of kicking him out of college because of it. But it ties in so perfectly, right? Like he's burning down his life just so he can get to 10,000 followers, which isn't even that significant. Now, if he was at like, 980,000 about to get to 1 million, I'd be like, all right, he could be, getting some money from this, and maybe he won't need college.
10,000.
But
it's not worth it. If you're listening, it's not worth it. Don't sacrifice your life for 10,000 followers. Don't sacrifice your life for any followers. Ugh. Oh God, that's so sad.
Did you see Demon 79 Black Mirror episode? Here's the premise, in case because you should watch it. It's good.
Okay.
Premise is this Indian girl is working at a shoe store in the UK, and people are essentially like, there's some very subliminal racism happening, so you start to feel bad for her. You're like, this situation sucks. So then she's eating lunch one day. They make her eat lunch in the basement because they don't like the smell of her food. And so while she's at the basement desk, she opens this drawer and finds like a talisman. I think they use those in witchcraft, right? Mm-hmm. And she doesn't know what it is, and she accidentally cuts her finger and bleeds on it. She goes home and she's inspecting it, and it starts talking to her. And it turns out that there's a demon in the talisman, and he wants her to release him. And so she does, because she freaks out and she thinks he'll go away. And then he tells her that he is going to help her make 3 human sacrifices in the next 72 hours. And if they don't, the world is over. Everything's burning. And so his whole pitch to her is like, you can do this. We're saving 6 billion people. Like, I'm going to help you. And so even like the way they were portraying the demon, I thought was really interesting, because he's almost being set up as like an ally or a good guy. Like, here's this creature that we all generally think is associated with hell and evil. And he's like, no, I'm here to help you save the world. Huh. And what happens over the next 80% of the episode is just a fucking roller coaster.
That's very interesting. Wow, getting tricked in by a demon. I think like a lot of people could relate to that in a weird way. I'll have to watch that one. That one sounds fast. I should watch all of Black Mirror. I really like the premise of Black Mirror.
Some of them are very dark, where I've literally watched Black Mirror and been like, all right, Dad, we are going for a very long walk.
Yeah, we're going to go disappear for a little while. I need a reset. That's what I need.
Come here. Look who's rejoined the... Well, In all fairness, I kicked him out, so he's not really rejoining. He's just
He's just joining.
He's just joining. Yeah, I'm sorry. I needed some space. Thank you for giving me space.
Aw.
What else has been on your radar? Any classics that you really like?
Oh, classic. It's a classic to me. One of my all-time favorite movies that like I wish I could have been a part of is The Goonies. I love The Goonies. It's the perfect mix of like a happy movie with, a happy ending and all that, but it deals with some like really serious stuff of having to move and leaving your friends behind and, disappearing and the capitalism and the effects it has on the small modern family or, the lower middle class. And just like the importance of camaraderie, a good adventure, some good scares, some little horror bits in there, and some good comedy. It's like it covers everything I like about film in one film, and I just adore it. I adore that movie so much. I rewatch it every year, at least a couple times, and I should probably actually rewatch it. I'm getting to the time where I need to jump back into the Goonies saddle.
Did you ever see Stand By Me?
Yes. Yeah, I have. It's one of the movies that we have a list of 550 movies that we have to, not have to, but should watch as an actor, and that's one of them. I should rewatch that one. That one's a great movie too.
The part with the if anyone if I'm spoiling something, the movie's like 45 years old, so
don't complain.
That's on you.
Yeah.
Demon 79 is like 9 months old. I'm not going to spoil that one. The part where they're in the river, if you haven't seen it, it's a coming of age movie. These four boys go on an adventure to find a dead body.
Yep.
Is essentially premise. Well, at one point, they fall in the river or jump in the river to go swimming or something, and then they get out and they have leeches all over them.
Yeah.
And one of them, you see him look down, and there's like some blood coming out of his boxers, and he pulls it open, and he looks up at his best friend, and then he just faints.
Yep.
It's such a good scene.
It's such a good
I mean,
scene.
the whole movie is great.
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah.
But there is
Classic.
something about that scene where it's like, because I'm a dude, I'm like, yeah, that's worst case scenario.
That's real. Yeah,
of all
that's
the
like-
things that could happen between when you're like 8 and 14, however old they are, you don't want to leech on your dick.
No. At any age, I don't
No,
want to
not
leech on
now,
my-
yeah.
I don't want to
No,
leech near there.
yeah.
No.
Crossing my legs again
Yeah.
for the people
Yeah,
listening
right.
on audio.
And I'm okay for now. It kind of reminds me of the scene from We Are the Millers where I forget what the character's name is, but the guy that plays the son, and he gets a tarantula in his boxers, and a tarantula bites his dick. I'm like, oh my god. Oh no. Talk about a worst case scenario. Oh.
That movie's awesome.
Oh yeah, it's so funny. I had best Jennifer Aniston role, I think.
We being Thad and I, we saw our first tarantula a couple months ago up here.
Oh yeah.
About 10-minute walk away from the front door, and I hated it. One of the worst experiences of my life.
Arachnophobia, yeah.
To not to this day, but for about like 2 to 4 weeks, every time we walked by the spot where we saw the tarantula, I got chills up and down my spine.
Yeah.
And I told one of my neighbors about it, and she was like, "Was this tonight?" And I was like, "Yeah, it was like 15 minutes ago." And she goes, "Where is it? I want to go find it." I was like, "Why?" And she's like, "I want to pick it up." And I was like, "No,
okay.
I'm not enabling this.
No.
You want to go find that spider? There's 20 square miles of forest behind here. Good luck."
Have fun.
Yeah.
I do not need to be a part of this journey. Are you scared of spiders?
Tarantulas? Fuck yeah.
Yeah, they're big. They're big and hairy.
If I knew exactly when that was, I would show you the picture I took of it, but it's just so big and creepy. And
yeah.
I think it's my brother's fault. I have this memory from when we were, I think I was 7, he was 11. We shared a bedroom. We had a bunk bed. And one day he was at like the 99-cent store with my parents or something.
Okay.
And he finds this big old spider toy.
Okay.
And we have a little nightlight in our room. And so you can sort of see, right? But not like well. And he gets this idea to tie some string to it. He's in the top bunk. I sleep in the bottom. And while I'm sitting there just trying to go to sleep, in the dim little bit of light, I see this gigantic spider start coming down.
Oh, no.
And I'm pretty sure I like rolled out of bed. No, actually, this is coming back to me in real time. I couldn't get out of bed because I was scared of it like dropping on me. And I remember leaning back as far back as I could and just screaming bloody murder for my mom. And in the like 6 seconds it took her to get to the bedroom, I'd started crying. I was a mess.
Oh,
and then when
no.
she flipped on the light and I saw it was a toy, even then I don't think that gave me any relief.
No, that's torture. Oh gosh. My brother has bad arachnophobia. There's a memory I have where we were at my Opus house on the farm, and he was downstairs in the basement taking a shower, and it was just like me and my cousin, and all of a sudden we just hear a blood-curdling scream from the basement. I thought my brother fell and died. Like he was like 12 or 13, and he screamed like a little girl. And we run downstairs. What's wrong? And it was a spider. I shit you not, about this big, just that was underneath his the washcloth he was gonna use. Like he grabbed the washcloth and it crawled on his head. And it sounded like he died. Funny thinking back on it, but
Poor Brandon.
he'll be fine. He'll be okay. He does still have arachnophobia though. I've never really had it. There was at the butterfly pavilion growing up, like I held the tarantula and she's a little friend.
No.
Okay.
I don't know what the hell happened here, but there is like a 2-month period, either a year or two ago, where me and a bunch of my neighbors were just getting cockroaches in here all the time. And those don't bug me. It wasn't a big deal. I just got a couple cans of spray and I just fucking, do my thing, kill them, move on. There's one time though where I went to go to bed at night and I make my bed every day. I'm one of those crazy people. I flip back the covers and the comforter, and one comes scurrying out of the middle of my. I was like, "Fuck no!" Slept on the couch that night. I couldn't sleep in my own bed. I was like, "That is wildly inappropriate."
Yeah. No. If it's in a bed. Yeah. Cockroaches bother me because so I was a mover after I first moved here. I wanted a physical job. That wasn't a desk job, so I became a mover, and. The only jobs that were covered in cockroaches were the filthier, gross ones. There was a time where I picked up this guy's mattress to turn it, and 2 cockroaches ran across my arm, just up me. And I have not freaked out on the job so bad. Cockroaches, like the big ones, get out of here. There was a move I was on where I was taking stuff out of their living room, and this big honker, almost the size of a Twinkie, ran up the wall, and then was just kind of watching us, and then I had to go back to where it was to grab a sofa, a recliner, and as I walked over to it, it jumped and flew at me, and I was like, "What?" It was swinging out the room. Yeah, you feel what I was feeling in the moment. The fact that they fly is disgusting. Ew. Ugh. If a tarantula flew, I would have much bigger problems with the tarantula.
Did you ever see anything when you were moving? Did you ever see anything that was like a really dirty house, or just was there a side of humanity that you got exposed to that you what was one of the crazier things you saw on a move?
I have multiple. One of my favorites is we had this client, and she lived in this small 1-bed apartment in the kind of shadier side of town. Clearly didn't have a whole bunch of money. We have a minimum of 2.5 hours, which was $500. And 2.5 hours, she was like, "I need this all out by 2.5 hours." She didn't have anything in a single box. All of her stuff was in trash bags, and there was several trash bags that just had garbage in it that she wanted us to move. She had a bag full of plates. All of her kitchen plates, glass ceramic plates, were in a trash bag, and she expected us to take it like that. Anyways, that one was crazy. But there was a move. These guys must have been the kinkiest couple I have to exist. It's one thing if I'm moving you and I open up a dresser drawer, you have a vibrator, some adult toy in there, whatever. I'll put it away, pretend I didn't see it. However, when I pick up your mattress and your tie-down straps are still across the whole bed, that's a different thing. And then when I pick up your headboard, I can't physically pick it up because there's so much lube on the headboard. It's sliding between my hands just trying to pick it up.
That's disgusting.
There was lube everywhere in that house. chaos. All of the carpets were like crusty and had a stain to it, and I was like, I don't get paid enough to be. It felt like a biohazard in the room. There's some funny moments I've had on that job. I had a job where this gal, we were moving her, and she lived in the Domain, party girl, and I moved her dresser that was in the closet, and her Coke plate and scraper and straw were all sitting behind it with like a dime bag on top. And I was like, why didn't you pick this up before I came in? And I went and I just didn't say a word, and I put it right in front of her and went right back to the move. And she turned white, just like full pale. I didn't, technically I'm snitching on her now, but
Hey, it's not, you're not like giving her address or her name or.
Yeah, she's at no. Moving was very interesting. It gave me a lot because it's customer service, and typical customer service. If you work at a restaurant or something like that, people come to you, you react to how they are. But when you're in people's home, it's a different story. Like, you have people who are so mean and protective over the stupidest stuff. People live in filth that I couldn't imagine living in. People can be so unorganized. People can have so much stuff. I filled a 26-foot box truck with the contents of a 2-bedroom apartment. Floor to ceiling. How do you have that much? She had 2 canoes in her living room. She's had canoes. I was like, why do you have, they were covered in dust. I was like, why do you have canoes? She's like, in case I use it. I'm like, well, you clearly, whatever.
She needs to purge.
Yeah. A lot of people do. A lot of people have more stuff than they realize. It made me, like, when I was on that job, realize my room, I was like, okay, I need to get rid of some stuff because I'm getting there. I'm not there yet, but moving's interesting. Especially if you do it in Texas, it's hot. It's disgusting.
2 things.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1, Matt. I can't remember his last name, but I can see his face. He's a buddy of mine out in California.
Mm-hmm.
And I had just helped like a couple different friends move. It'd been every weekend. And he hits me up on like a Thursday night and he's like, can you help me move this weekend? And I said, honestly, no. Because I've just done 4 of these and I want a weekend back. And he was like, please, come on, I'm desperate. I've literally no one else to ask David. And I was like, fuck me. So I said, I will help you on one condition.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to show up Saturday morning, like 7 o'clock. We're going to knock this out by noon. Everything's packed. I'm showing up to put things in truck, drive to house.
Take stuff out of truck.
Take stuff out of truck.
Yes.
Allegedly, they got there on Friday night. His fiance wakes up Saturday morning, and she lost something like her cell phone or the key to the new house.
Okay.
And she allegedly started going through boxes, opening them, turning them upside down, dumping the So I show up, front doors wide open. I can hear them inside yelling. Not like in a fight, but you know how when you're upset and you're just like, Austin!
Yeah.
Have you checked the bedroom? Just stuff like that.
Yeah, the snippiness.
And so I hear the snippiness, and I walk through. As I'm walking up the thing, I see just their possessions, and you can't even see the floor because. And I'm just like, I should walk away now.
Yeah.
I should just get back in my car and tell them I'm hungover and slept through my alarm and I forgot. My bad.
Worst case moving scenario.
And then Matt got mad at me because I started getting boxes and just throwing shit in them. And he's like, you're putting kitchen stuff and bathroom stuff in the same box. I'm like,
you're the
yes,
one who
Matt.
shit all over the floor. What do you want from me?
Yeah.
It's literally everywhere.
We're not friends anymore.
That's fair. That's fair. I don't think I would be friends with them either.
The other thing I was going to say is I have nothing against lube. I have nothing against BDSM.
Yeah, it's...
But also clean up.
Clean up. It's not that hard.
You do your playtime and then you get a couple, some bleach wipes or whatever.
Something.
Have some self-respect.
A rag?
Yeah.
Something.
That's
like,
a crazy story that their headboard was covered in lube.
It was like one of those headboards that has like outlets on the top of it, so it's like deep. There were... They didn't... What I also found was, besides like the lube itself, is they didn't have like a bottle of lube. They had small packets of lube. And there was like 30 strewn across the top of the headboard, on the windowsill, under the bed. Like there was just packets of lube everywhere. Like their light switch was lubey. Their light switch was lubey. Like, they didn't clean up the light switch. Like, clean up something, you know? It's not that. And the funniest part is that he was standing there as I went to grab his headboard, and he saw me, like...
What was the look on his face?
And he was like, just like turned away and went out the room and kind of like ignored that. I was like, how are you okay with people moving your stuff when it's still covered in lube?
Were they both there?
Yeah.
Was it straight couple or gay?
Straight couple.
Age? Guess?
Early 40s. They had kids. They did have kids. And
in their lubed up carpeted house.
Yeah.
Kids are just running around in the
Yes. Their kids were like in high school. And
oh no, that's even worse.
I know. One of the kids' room they had a dildo in the room. I'm like, what are you encouraging in this household? It was diabolical. I've never been in a house that I'm like, they first of all had so much shit. Second of all, lube covered everywhere. And third of all, like their kids are also it was a goon house. It's gross. It was just nasty. It just, yeah. That one was.
Everything that you have told me tonight, I'm judging this family harder than anyone else.
That's fine.
And I don't even know what. It's something about the dildo in the kids' room.
Yes. When I saw that, because it was like in a basket next to, I think like the gummy lifesavers. Like there was candy in a basket next to a dildo.
You use your dildo and then you get a reward.
You gotta refresh yourself now. You're gonna tuck yourself out. You gotta eat, restore some calories.
I'm all about parents having healthy sexual conversations with their kids, but this one is really weirding me out.
This one's weird. And like I don't know. The two rooms, both the kids' rooms were disgusting. Like there was stains everywhere. There was stuff on the walls. There was drawings all over everything. There was like anime stickers in every corner of the room, and like just like I knew what that family dynamic was behind closed doors by being in their house. Like I didn't want to be there any longer than I had to be.
But what if it's not behind what if the dad is like, hey Jack, I'm going to go tie your mom up and stick this dildo up her ass. Don't come in our room for the next 30 minutes. And then Jack's like, I'm about to go do the same with my sister.
No. Jack, what did I tell you? Not after last time. Oh, God. Probably.
Because clearly none of them are hiding anything from each other.
No.
This is the most honest American family. Was this in Austin?
Yeah.
What part of town?
North Loop area. Yeah, North Loop. There was something about that family that like just stuck with me. It was disgusting. I could call up a friend right now and be like, "Hey, remember the headboard move?" And they'd be like, "Yeah, I know what you're talking about."
So these are going to be the first guests on my new spin-off show called Big Dick's Soft Moments. And the acronym for Big Dick Soft Moments is BDSM.
BDSM? Big Dicks. I love this. This needs to...
I threw this idea past my workout buddy the other day just completely as a joke. We ended up having close to a 2.5-hour conversation because of moments like the one you had.
Yeah.
He was like, it would work. You have all these really masculine guys on, and somehow you break all of them. They're all crying by the end of your podcast. And he was like, this is a genius title. I'm like, but then people want to come on. If I slip into Austin's DMs and he doesn't know me, and I say, hey, Austin, I'm the host of the BDSM Austin podcast here in Austin, Texas, which stands for Big Dick Soft Moments. Would you come on to talk about your career in acting? By the way, I need to have a phone call with your mom before the episode. None of this is ever going to happen.
I probably would not give you my mom's information. I would probably still attend the podcast out of pure curiosity and just have a little resentment or a little withholding this. Sorry.
No,
Maybe a little resentment. Wow. You know, I think you found your new dream. I think this needs to come true.
No. I don't know if I could take myself seriously.
No, I don't think you probably could.
Even last night, I was at a comedy show and someone was asking me what I do, and I was like, "Oh, I host the DSNSB podcast. It stands for David Saturday Night Sit Back." I have no reservation saying that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Well, at a comedy club, telling
Comedy
someone
club
you
would be
host
funny.
a BDSM podcast, they would get a kick
They'd
out
be
of
like,
that.
all right, this guy fucks.
But if I'm at Zilker on a Saturday morning with Dad
Yeah.
They're not going to want to
What
talk
do you do
to
for a
me.
living? I run a podcast called BDSM. Do some-
It doesn't stand for what you think it stands for.
No. It's slightly better than that. Yeah, that I don't know if that would fly super well for you.
The idea we ultimately came to was maybe what I'll do is I'll have a couple episodes a year, like a handful, and it will literally just be like me and a couple of my buddies or other dudes that have been on the show that know I'm not a creep, and it'll be much more like sports, movies,
Yeah.
culture, literally like sort of almost like Joe Rogan when he has multiple friends on, where it's just like three dudes shooting the shit, talking about whatever comes to mind.
Right.
Throwing back a couple beers.
Yeah.
Just
More
hanging out.
casual. Yeah. Hey, I would attend that. That
All
would
right,
be a
good to
fun
know.
time. Yeah.
I've been building a list of people that would come
There you
back
go.
on.
I would.
I'm up
I
to
would
about
do that.
5 guys.
Perfect.
If it
That's
ever
enough.
starts, I'll
That's
call you.
enough to start.
Yeah. Well, I have one question from your mom before we end this. We sort of danced around it earlier, but I think my ADD kicked in and we
That's okay.
trailed off to somewhere else.
That's all right.
Before I ask you the question, thank you so much for being here. This was
thanks for
super
having
fun.
me.
You were transparent, vulnerable, kind, introspective. You're a very articulate storyteller. I have enjoyed every second of this podcast.
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
also have just a lot of hope for your future, man. You
Thank
seem
you.
like you have a good head on your shoulders. You're really self-aware.
Yeah.
And what I like is that you're able to course correct when you see that something could maybe be tweaked just a little bit that might make your life or your mindset a little bit better. And
Yeah.
I think that's really a really important attribute to have.
Thank you. That's very nice. It's been absolute pleasure. Thanks for inviting me on. I've had a great time. I love, like, how do I say this without sounding? I love talking about my life. It's so narcissistic to say. It's so narcissistic to say. But it's like it's so, I think there's a lot that I've experienced that people can relate to, and holding back on that, I almost feel like I'm robbing other people of getting a true understanding of who I am, but B, finding a relation in something that I've done or experienced. Plus, like, with my mom being my mom, I can't not talk about my life sometimes because she's just so powerful. And most of the people I meet, they're like, well, who are you? And I'm like, well, I'm Danette's son. I am.
You could have led with that on our phone call. Still mad about that.
You can be mad. It's all right. You're hiding this great person. How come you? Yeah. No, but thank you. It's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed this. You're a fantastic host. You're very intuitive. I love that you've been writing notes and, like, really here. I think it's great. I think it's really fun. Plus, you listen very well. And yeah, you guys. I wasn't expecting any of the questions today.
Me neither.
I loved it though.
I had. What were my questions other than your mom's? I had. Where did that intro take you? Are you happy? Who are you? And your mom's question. So we just did a 3-hour episode based off that.
Nice, great.
And
Love
I don't
that.
even know if I asked you, are you happy? I
You
asked
said how I was feeling.
I asked you that.
And I'm content, and I think everybody's on the pursuit of happiness. Is it Buddhism or is it Taoism where it's like true, like the point of life is to find happiness? I think that changes for everybody, and I think I'm on the path to find it. I'm not always happy. I don't think anybody is. If you are, then you might be a little skewed, or you're just in a constant state of nirvana, and that's perfectly fine, if that's what you want to be. But yeah, I'd like to say I'm happy.
Good. Well, it goes back to your point about religion earlier that we were talking about. I'm starting to think with where I'm at in life, like, they're all right and they're all wrong, because there's
Yeah.
also a Chinese proverb and a book and a concept called finding your ikigai, which is essentially finding out what makes you happy, how can you make money, how does it serve the people around you, and I'm forgetting the fourth attribute, and if you put those 4 things together, you'll probably live a relatively happy life. And I'm like, well, fucking China's saying the same thing that my Christian church in Folsom, California is saying. So
Yeah.
who's right here?
Who's right? Who
Like,
knows?
yeah,
Who knows?
that sentence probably won't get me canceled, but that's okay.
Ah, no,
I'm
let
leaving
people
it in.
filter on it. Yeah, it just comes down to, like, when I was agnostic, the biggest thing I found was, like, the golden rule, which is treat other people how you want to be treated. And literally, if you look into any religion, it kind of boils down to that point where it's like, if you do these things in the pursuit of other people and yourself, you're bound to find some goodness out of that. And that's what it is.
Did you ever dabble in the 50 Laws of Power?
Mm-mm.
It's a book where basically a friend of mine told me he was going to stop reading it because it was corrupting him, because he got through like 16 of the 50 laws and said that all 16 of them are about putting yourself first at the expense of others, essentially. And I was just thinking as you were talking, what if there is some religion out there where they actually did preach, like, screw other people over?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, oh, there is a religion. It's this author.
It's this guy. Yeah.
And yet, wildly popular book that I think has sold millions of copies.
Of course.
So
Just put power in the name. People always want power.
put down the 50 laws. Listen to Austin's episode on David's Saturday Night Sit Back.
Rule number 1, fuck everybody else.
Yep.
Rule number 2, when you fuck everybody else, do it passionately. Rule number 3, never put relish on a hot dog. Rule number 4, don't take things too seriously. Rule number 5, don't take things not seriously enough. Rule number 6, rule number 7. You don't talk about rules. It's like Fight Club. You don't talk about rule number 6. Rule number 7, refer to rule number 3. Rule number 8, it's a rule. Rule number 9, be happy. Just, that's it. Rule number 10, do everything. Rule number 11 through 50 is repeat rule number 1 through 10 through the cycle of your life. Thank you, everybody. That's all. That's all I'm here for. I don't even know what I said. I said relish at one point.
I put relish on hot dogs.
That's fine. You can.
I went to Costco the other day to get a hot dog, I'll admit. And they were out of relish, and I've never wanted to return something more.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I asked them, I was like, you guys got some relish back there, right? And they were like, no, we're out.
How do you run out of relish?
Sorry, Thad. Oh, I just hit your picture. Sorry. your precious gift from your mom, and I just threw a fidget spinner at it because of relish.
You know, out of things, the sentences to be said on a podcast today, I wasn't expecting that. I, for one, am not a big fan of relish. I'm also just not a fan of pickles. Like, if there's the only time I love pickles is like when it's on a burger, like just a couple pickles. I'm not a big relish fan, and that's okay.
It is okay.
And you can love relish.
Do you like animal fries from In-N-Out, though? Do you know what
If
those
they're
are?
warm, yes. The second the cheese gets cold, I'm out.
Yeah. So you'll eat. That's your relish exception.
Is that relish on there? I thought that was
Pretty
caramelized
sure.
onions.
There's that, too.
Oh, no.
Well, because there's relish in the sauce, and they put the sauce on the fries.
I mean, I like Big Mac, too, which also has relish in it, which because it's in the Big Mac sauce. I guess you're right. When it's in something, I'm perfectly fine with it. But I guess on its own, like, I don't know. I just feel like eating a green hot dog just sets me off in a way.
When it's in something, I'm perfectly fine with it, said every dude that ever lived.
Wow. That's rule number 12.
I'm going to put that on a T-shirt for you. You're going to get a box with no return label on Christmas or your birthday. I wrote down when your birthday is.
Perfect.
On March 14th of next year.
Perfect.
And you're going to get a T-shirt that says...
Rule number 12.
Yeah.
How did you say it?
When it's...
How did I say it?
When it's
in something.
When it's inside something,
it's inside something.
I'm perfectly fine with it.
Yeah. Yes.
Brother, this was such a fun episode.
It's been so fun.
I'm starving. You have a script that's due in like 32 hours.
I do.
We're going to get you out of here. We're
Okay.
going to get us out of here. To the audience, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget, go hit that follow or that subscribe button. It's very easy. We'll see you next Saturday night. Stay healthy, stay happy, and take care. Bye.
Peace.